going to have first pick here in their right of first selection on red side as Hanj and Brion go over to the blue side. I don't think there are many things to discuss here out of the normal meta picks and obviously Keриa's Bard ban, besides a potential Ezreal ban that was discussed by Ox. This pick is rising in priority, and a lot of our AD carries are using it as a comfort pick because it's great also into the Jarvan pick, which often goes over first because you have that extra mobility and safety. So if we see a Jarvan first pick, the Ezreal will likely come through here from Teddy, unless it's banned, which is not, because they went for the Varus ban, which is more standard. I mean, T1 have done the classic 3 bans here.
Yep. And it's kind of weird, because they have first pick, right? They could have taken one of these. Obviously, they have something else on the mind. Xin Zhao has been launched towards top of the priority list, especially with the good old Kanavi Cook build in the Titanic Hydra. But Karma is going to be banned away, of course.
Owner does prefer Xin Zhao in the matchup. They could wait and see what comes through because it's Faker.
Yep.
Zero's up. That's what happens.
And I mean, they're on a roadshow as well. Obviously, you're going to treat your fans to the Faker Azir.
Of course. So Roamer, first time back in a while, will have counter pick here, and they can choose their preferred jungler over the Xin Zhao or the Jarvan. I personally like the Jarvan more right now, but it's Owner, so maybe denying this from him could feel great, but I don't think Owner is going to be like, oh no, I couldn't play my favorite. I guess I'll have to play Jarvan, which is really strong.
Is it going to be Xin with half of an Ashe Seraphine or half of like a Yunara Lulu or something like that?
I feel like Yunara Lulu is safer here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just locking the Lulu, and then if they pick away the Yunara, then you're like, well, we'll play Aphelios. Something
could just go for the Ezreal here and say, well, you are playing Jarvan almost 100%. I'll grab Ezreal, and we'll get the Xin Zhao side of this. That could be another way to play it and use the Xin Zhao as a bit of a front line here for Teddy.
It is Teddy.
So this is what was discussed earlier, and it will come to pass here. T1 just letting it happen.
Speaking of things that were discussed earlier, do you know what would be so incredibly cool? If Faker, even though he never uses skins, because of the EasyHoon announcement,
that would be cool.
Uses EasyHoon's SKT skin on the Azir.
That would be 100% what any mid laner except Faker would do in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I just love it if it was a possibility. Nico going to be picked up for Keria though, absolutely deadly in his hands. And let's see what Pays wants to be playing alongside it. It's actually doing double duty, as of course Nico is a decent bot laner, but there's also the fact that you're taking it away from Teddy and Namgung. Yeah. Namgung has been gravitating towards the Nico in the majority of his games.
Looks like they're going to go for the Nocturne here instead. Pays is happy to play a lot of different aggressive champions in the bottom lane, even ones that don't necessarily have a strong synergy with Nico. Like, I wouldn't even be shocked if he had pulled out the Caitlyn here, or if he was happy to play Lucian Nico. It's not common, as this Akali pick has really risen in priority, especially into the Azir. Yep. And it's a big test for Roamer on his first day back here to try to come at the GOAT with the Akali pick with a Xin Zhao jungle. So this composition is already a little bit rickety here for Bro, but has high potential.
I would agree. I think that the Ezreal pick doesn't necessarily work as well with the enchanters that a Xin Zhao would really like. So like you're saying, a little bit rickety there as far as that synergy is concerned. But I mean, Xin is kind of strong in his own right. Crescent Guard can be very, very powerful for denying a bunch of the damage.
So Caitlyn's gone. I wonder if they just ban Corki, because Corki follows up on Nocturne Dive really well, follows up on Nico Engage, has great 2v2 into most matchups.
Yep. Also, decent escape with Valkyrie, which could get him out of the way of an Akali that's chasing him down or something like that.
Yeah, that feels really good. Take away safe picks here, blind picks for casting seems to be the strategy for the side of T1.
Doran, Renekton, maybe.
Maybe. It definitely feels like it would work well in this draft. Renekton Azir has always been classic. It's the old Genji meme, but
yeah.
Is it going to be the Corki ban here, or do they have something else in mind? Something else they're a little bit more worried about? Again, I mentioned the Lucian. I don't think Pays wants to play Lucian Nico, but he absolutely would. They'll take the Jace away.
Yeah, okay. So not focusing towards the bottom side of the map anymore. Just going to get rid of one of Doran's favorites, which does make a little bit of sense. I don't think they're as worried about seeing other things outside of the Caitlyn Nico just because it can be so oppressive. And Ezreal can kind of deal with a lot of matchups on the bottom side of the map, depending on what his partner's going to be.
I think if you're going to play a slower top lane here for casting, it has to be like Zahin. I don't think you can play a Cassante or a Sion here very well in this draft because, I mean, this is a great Gwen ban, actually. Side lane could be the way that they try to push through this, but
Doran is playing Sion. is what I'm kind of getting.
It does look that way. I like that Brion are going to go for something a little bit more aggressive here. If they ended up picking up the Cassante, I think this draft just doesn't have the firepower it needs to utilize this Akali Ezreal properly. So they take the Narban and they're like, we'll take the Renekton. Now, if you want to play Sion into that, it's also going to be a little bit tricky. In the early game, we'll have a lot of prio there top side. So it's a pretty cool pick here for Bro that they take away.
Yep, and there was also the Gnar that was banned away by T1 as well. Jhin and Neeko together would be a lot of early game power here. I am obviously a little bit personally biased against the Jhin, but he has been finding a fair bit of success, especially with the steadily evolving build, sometimes not having a Ghost Blade in it, which can be very, very nice.
Doran's playing Aurora. Okay.
I
did kind of forget about this, to be honest, because this is one of Namgung's favorites, if not just outright his favorite. He has picked up where Lehen's left off with this pick, and he has been trying to make waves with it. He's had a few good performances on it, even in losses. It's a high-risk pick, but it works well with the Akali, and they already have a lot of setup between the Renekton stun and the Xin Zhao engage. I kind of feel like the biggest part of this composition, the toughest part and the part that has to be executed the best, is Doran's job here for T1. Everything else kind of plays itself, right? You have the Nocturnal, Faker Azir is going to look for shuffles in and engage tools, and Keria is going to be an amazing threat here on this Neeko, and the Pays can follow up on. But if you fall behind, or the Aurora doesn't do damage for any reason, or it gets popped, or is behind in this game, which it shouldn't happen, was playing into Renekton, if Doran messes this up for any reason, I think this comp gets a little bit tougher to play for T1. But I do otherwise think their comp is both more meta and more well-rounded than what Hanji and Brion have on their side.
Yeah, not to mention, you know, Nocturne and Jhin just inherently work well together with the range of the curtain call and the snap engage. And yeah, my goodness. Look at this. The Inspire Arena is entirely full. And Wolf, we've been there. That place is huge.
It is massive.
And this is regular season LCK here in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of esports would be lucky to have their finals here.
Yeah, exactly. We did, in fact, have our finals here, Wolf. That did happen. And this is about as packed as it was then. As it turned out, it was pretty packed when we were there for the LCK final as well. But man, T1 certainly know how to draw a crowd. Let's see whether they can bring us a game as well. And I think that question really does rest with Hanji and Brion, because if they can make this interesting, my goodness, what a day it would be. Wait.
No, I just did the T1 one.
That's what I was thinking. Where's my bro one?
Well, I don't know how many bro fans are there, so they're just trying to be polite, maybe.
Well, wouldn't you, like, okay, casting.
By the way, you know, I mentioned Doran.
And a dice.
He,
just flash on him, casting. Don't be scared.
He doesn't have any more buttons, so I don't think he should do that, but getting a pretty massive lead here at level 1 in a tough matchup.
Level 2 gank, maybe? Yeah, Doran is in a bit of trouble.
This is a cool little level 1 E hit here for casting, because he's like, I can't get to that ranged champion. What if I just press E twice and get on him that way? And then auto him a few times before he actually has any skill points.
Oh, it worked pretty well. And so casting, of course, going to be more deadly when he does reach level 3, where you can stun and then do a bunch of damage back and heal yourself and all that sort of stuff. As Roma looking for a little bit of damage here towards Faker as well. You were mentioning the fact that the Akali matchup into the Azir has been one that a lot of our players have really liked. Currently, Faker doing just fine. It's out farming quite nicely as there is the stun to come through. Level 2 taking the Ravenous Hunter here and casting, avoiding a bit of the damage there from Doran, but I think Doran has to go home. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, this is crazy. I kind of thought that, I mean, look, I don't end up playing this matchup too much myself, but I kind of thought he was going to be like, all right, well, I did enough. Guess I'll take Q, sustain off these waves, continue to get my health advantage. Casting was like, no, I go in on this, actually, and push him to teleport. And that was the call. Now he has level 3, so he's got the full kit, and Doran is down a teleport. So a pretty huge advantage picked up here for casting early.
Yeah, and the fact that he's the melee champion, right, that is going to be taking a lot of harass, you've now sort of got a luxury teleport in your lane, which is crazy valuable, and probably will be using it right now, but has an extra wave to spend. Might actually be able to get an item or two.
He gets boots and refillables, so he can continue to apply a little bit of pressure here, and we'll be able to deal with that poke you mentioned with the refillable. Doran, on the other hand, only getting refillable on his back, so pretty nice advantage. We'll see if Casting can push this any further. I think it's going to now become a lot trickier, especially with where this wave is right now, for him to do any more, but he got through the hardest part and, in fact, generated a lead during that moment, so great work from him. Yep,
very impressive. Playing very respectfully, as we see. As Roma going to find another electrocute here. Doesn't get the backflip, though. That would have been a lot of damage if he wasn't going to be hit by the turret. I think Faker was close enough to make that one work out, but it looks like Faker is just going to be going back. And Roma will have control of the wave for now. Still, regardless of everything, T1 are ahead in every lane. Yeah. It's kind of how it's all eventuated.
That is true. Akali takes a little bit of time before she's really able to threaten the Azir. Needs level 6 in most cases. Gideon's going to head up here because Doran has turned this lane around. He is still holding a flash, and he's going to need it.
Yeah, there's another slice and dice as the flash immediately follows. But Doran gets far enough away underneath the turret and will survive. Still has to use the flash, but gets 2 on the other side.
Really nice flash timing there for Doran. As,
oh, dearie me. The Deadly Flourish is named pretty well. As Namgung is going to have to slink away. And will at least be able to do that. Teddy might just stick around to pick up the wave, and that looks like it is going to be the option. But it's going to be a pretty nice back here for T1.
T1, they do get Doran. I mean, Doran gets himself out of there. T1 do get away with his aggressive positioning there, because if he dies, it could have been really disastrous. Now he's down flash, but Casting also flashed to set up the play. Gideon as well, committing in. And Owner now gets to be like, okay, well, that was the scariest part where the enemy jungler is relevant, and I don't have level 6, so he's getting closer to level 6 himself. And we'll actually see right now Namgung on that ward as he's coming over to the mid lane. Keria matching.
Once again, Casting goes in. We'll take a little damage on the way back, but now Doran with no teleport is leaving. Cocoon has to be flashed. Good respect there from Faker to make sure that he does not die to the Elise gank, as Carrier is over here as well. Casting looking for a little bit of an angle as Doran wants to clear out the wave. Slice, dice, and Doran goes down. First blood for Casting and almost gets his health back as Roman's underneath the turret. There's a perfect execution and he dies! Still, Namgung's able to get the kill back. A 1-for-1 in the mid lane that was almost a disaster for the bro mid laner.
Just needed one more auto. Crazy how close I got. Namgung is like, I win these.
Yeah, Carrier's like, so do I.
Yeah, I don't think Namgung in fact wins these at that health level.
Yeah, there's a really nice repel. He looked to turn it and gets the flash out of Carrier. That was very huge.
God, Namgung, sit down for a minute. Let's take a chill pill, my man.
Bro came to play today.
I mean, this is crazy. Now, Casting here obviously doesn't have level 6. Doran misses the weirding onto him because he's trying to clear the wave, so he doesn't actually get that extra damage through, so Casting has this kill. It's 100% worth in my mind there. He gets the extra 100 gold for first blood. Here, Romer unfortunately did not quite have the damage, and this is also incredibly risky because I know Keria is nearby. Goes for the ult in here.
Oh man, just barely. Good flash from Namgung to make sure they get the kill.
If Namgung misses that, then it's a disaster.
Oh yeah.
It's still not ideal, but you know, both these early aggressive plays here for Bro don't set them behind. In fact, Casting he got the extra gold from that trade, and this is not Doran putting him down. Like, he's continued to control this lane. In fact, Owner may even look for a gank himself up here topside once he clears these Krugs and hits his paranoia.
And, I mean, there's a fair bit of CC on the T1 side, right? As Deadly Flourish is going to do a fair bit of work towards Teddy here. But I feel like Casting will be able to get a fair bit of value, as well as Gideon with his Crescent Guard. There's a lot of ranged champions that he will be able to use that ulti very effectively against, as there is the counter engage here from Owner. Turning it around towards Casting. The fear is perfect, and down goes the Crocodile. And as I was saying it, that is Casting not finding the value there in the top lane.
Yeah, there just isn't enough vision or information about where Owner is, I think, to make that aggressive all-in happen at level 6 here. Doran's still down his flash. I think Casting saw blood in the water there, but Gideon was way too far away if Owner, who has paranoia, which I think you should expect at this point, is going to be able to join. And if Owner is anywhere on the top side, he comes and makes this play. And he was expecting this. Doran was like, I need some help. He goes to clear his Krugs, gets level 6 off of it, and he just gets the punish. So I think a bit of a misread there from Casting, unfortunately, after what was such a fantastic start for the Renekton.
Yeah, still, I mean, that is Paranoia on cooldown for quite some time. Problem is, that's Ultimate Hunter. That's the first ulti working out for the Nocturne. We talk about this all the time, that it's a great start for Owner in this game. And we need to, you know, talk about the fact that Owner is pretty good at Nocturne. His win rate it's north of 85%, I'm pretty sure, at this point in time, and he's got a few games in it. That is not an Atlas stat, you know.
Yeah, he is actually quite a Nocturne guy. He plays Nocturne when it's not meta. It's really meta right now, but there's been many an Owner game, often even at international tournaments, where he's like, no, this is actually the pick here.
Well, Casting looking for another opportunity as Namgung back towards the top side. Namgung, in the early game, has been finding a whole lot of angles as Doran notices that this could be a rough time and then just teleports away.
Turtle porting.
Yeah, the turtle port out of danger is what he went for there. As Roman once again looking for an opportunity, dodges the Emperor's Divide quite nicely here as he will land the backflip. And does he have the ulti? The perfect execution! Solo kill for Roma in his first game back after a hiatus. That is gorgeous!
Insane play there from Romer. Gets the deletion of Faker here. Doran pushed away by Namgung. It means a plate additionally is going to go over to Casting here, so he's got 2 in pocket. And will actually take the gold lead back from Doran, despite Doran picking up that kill from the gank from Owner. Doran's also down TP because he TP'd away defensively, so Casting holds TP advantage in the top side. And this game, pretty interesting to start things off. The bottom lane, not in a great spot, but Teddy's scaling up, right? He's going to be heading towards that 2-item spike here in about 10 minutes time. And it's only, you know, a 500 gold lead for Pays, and obviously Namgung's been roaming around the map. So this is kind of expected as Romer finds the angle here, hits the Q, sidesteps. I mean, it's just a sidestep. It's not a flash. He just kind of baits him. If Faker pulls the trigger too early, he has the ultimate and wipes the floor with him.
And just barely makes it out with that one last turret shot. Carrier looking to come in and, predicts the dash away. Paranoia gets the flash, as Owner may need to get out of here. Carrier was going to die otherwise, as he does take a turret shot. And Casting was eating some honey fruit, just taking a little bit of a lunch break. And then there was a Nocturne, but will just be slinking back towards that top side of the map.
A little bit of greedy here from Romer, but I think he's going to get away with it. He's got a Shroud.
Yep.
And he has TP. You mentioned Owner, he just ulted in there. He has an 86% win rate across 43 games in his
North of 85, I nailed it.
Yeah, he has, he's almost got 50 games in Nocturne on his career.
Yeah, the win rate is pretty ludicrous.
He's also kind of, you know, the history of League of Legends, kind of a late debut to have that many Nocturne games, you know?
Yeah. Roma just doesn't have the health bar to walk up to these minions. We'll be able to secure one with the Shuriken backflip, and then we'll be heading on back. We'll see how close to the Hextech Gunblade he is going to be.
Casting is, I mean, he's got his W charged here. He has Flash. Doran really needs to be careful without Nocturne on the top side of the map. Casting may just look for an aggressive trade to TP, then back in, and continue to put the pressure on. So I like Casting's positioning here.
Yeah. He's also making sure that Doran's having a really rough time farming, right? Like, Doran's had to use almost all of his buttons on the wave and hasn't been able to do that, you know, Aurora thing where you get to zone your opposition out with that threat of the big burst.
He just did a ton of damage to him. He's got Flash still, so, I mean, Doran, you don't have TP. You might just have to give some of these minions up, but even the Owner didn't have his ult. He's on the bottom side of the map, and Bro are on Dragon at the same time.
Well, there's the ulti out from Doran as well, so he's not going to be able to use this for said Dragon. Casting can teleport down. I think this is a dangerous one for T1 to contest.
I think he wants to kill.
The flash in from Casting, he finds the Dominus, and the slice is there. Doran will be able to outplay it, though, as he takes out the Crocodile. Just kites him around. There's a Pop Blossom as well, as T1 looking to lock things down in the bottom side of the map as well. Gideon very, very low. Teddy does grab a kill, as I think that was a true shot barrage into the top lane, as now Faker's going to get taken out by Roma once again. Back-to-back solo kills from this Akali, and now he wants to take Carrier out of the equation at the same time. He's just pretending to be a mid laner.
Casting is laughing on the player cam after a disaster on the top side. I think really showcasing he is happy with how close this game is, despite a bit of a blunder there and a great outplay by Doran. He knows his mid laner just got a free kill. Now Casting here, again, he knows Doran doesn't have ult. Doran's trying to clear this wave, but doesn't have mana. So Casting's like, well, I get this. And instead of using his ultimate early, he wants to use it for the extra fury here, but doesn't hit the E, so he's not able to get the second E. If he has the second one, he kills him and escapes.
I think he also needed only like one extra of the Ticket Dominus as well.
Yeah.
Doran was clearing out the wave and just dies to Teddy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That might have been what Casting was laughing about.
I imagine it was.
And over here, Faker on the side just gets deleted. As you can see here, Keria cannot heal for him.
Namgung does get taken out by FaZe though, so this Jhin doing exactly what he's supposed to, but Roma just figures it out, man. This guy's Akali is devastating. And he has that Gunblade now completed. This is a big item spike for this Akali.
Exactly, and you know, sometimes we're like, okay, well, the Akali didn't get anything done early, didn't get online, didn't become relevant. You've got that like side laning Akali that will eventually show up surely in a team fight, but he's just been doing so much work already in this game. The Renekton in a tough matchup held a gold lead. And again, unable to get that solo kill, but still got the assist money. He's still dead even with Doran.
And he's still just trying to kill him. Dash Cannon going to be used to try and get Doran out of here. There's another ulti in trade for Doran's. And I think he wants to go in between worlds to get to a different one that Renekton isn't in, is what I'm kind of seeing here on this top side of the map. And remember, this was the counter pick that Doran chose into this Renekton.
I'm starting to wonder if this Jhin composition for T1 is going to work with the... Okay, hold on. FaZe?
Ooh, sidesteps the Cocoon very nicely. Remember, Namgung has half a health bar. Well, like actually right now, but also just in general. At least doesn't have health.
Yeah, she doesn't. Also, a bit risky considering FaZe is holding on to a cleanse right now.
Yeah.
So even if that did hit, he would have just kind of laughed at it. But Teddy ends up doing some damage back.
Oh, nails the cannon as well as casting. Sidesteps an ability. I was very much expecting a slice in. See whether there's a dice in, but no, goes out and misses a cannon. So that's, I'm going to put that in the cons column.
The number one thing that our pre-show talked about, and even the Korean pre-show, at least as long as they kept it the same as rehearsal, which I listened to, was all about, are we fighting? Are we going in? What are we doing for bro? Like, are we committing or are we leaving? Are we going to hard commit to this, or are we going to half commit and then leave and then lose the objective? So far, they've been heavily committing in their lanes and also these early scrappy fights, and it's been working decently well here. The game is practically dead even in terms of gold. It's the Akali lead versus the Jhin lead, but with Bro's composition, I think you favor the Akali lead here. Let's see if they can continue to kind of stick the landing here with this, because they have so many threats for the Jhin. Faker is 0-3, right? He's not a massive threat in this game for a while here. There's going to be a timing where if we continue at this rate, Bro have that 2-item Ezreal spike, and they're ready to fight all the time.
Yep. We also have to say that Gideon got the grubs. So Gideon Grubs is online here for the Bros, as Faker looking to grab some plates here on this bottom side. They know that Owner is here, but of course, very difficult to dive in Akali, as she does have a habit of being invisible.
Yes.
That Shroud is now down, and now he's actually looking for an all-in onto Faker. There's the Emperor's Divide as he flashes, but doesn't find the angle. Rift Herald is taken here. Is there another backflip? And the answer is no. Owner is just going to lap up the Akali.
I think he had to flash that Emperor's Divide. You know, you use the flash afterwards, and Faker's just like, all right, I guess I finally got one back.
He definitely messed something up towards the end of that play, but we're going to forgive him for it because he did outplay in the majority of the time so far this game.
Between that flub and Casting's flub on the top side, which again was very close, and Doran played it well, it almost feels like in some ways Bro keeping this game really interesting, really close, but I'm also like watching you ever watch the Games Done Quick where there's like 100,000 people watching and the guy messes it up? Like, he's actually the world record holder, but he's like, ooh, hold on, I'm gonna have to do this boss again.
Yeah, here we go.
This is kind of the moment here because he messed up the flash, but also
he flashes into the wall. But he ults into the wall and then flashes, and then he's just out of position.
Yeah, but he also could have just flashed the Emperor's Divide if he knew the angle better, and then probably killed Faker there. But either way, kind of a disaster for what he was trying to do.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward one. I think was hoping that he'd be able to use the second ult in order to get back to Faker after the Emperor's Divide, and then can use the flash in order to follow up if there's any attempt to escape. And he did do a whole lot of damage, as we saw. So right now, Faker does have 100 gold in the lead. It is going to be the Bros picking up this first Chemtech Dragon, as we have a Chemtech soul this game. Orcs is maybe just off getting lunch or something like that, I assume. Cannon going to go wide once again. It's a little bit unfortunate. The Dragon lead, if you're a Bro fan, is something that you can hang your hat on.
It's not.
There's at least that.
It's not the greatest Dragon for their comp. I mean, the Renekton will like it, but it's otherwise not really a big brawler in this comp, nor a lot of healing and
Akali also, like, Gunblade's pretty good for, like, Omnivamp, and, you know, Zinzao has some in his kit. I mean, there's an angle.
Sort of, yeah. I'm with you. I like the positivity.
Yeah. You gotta stay positive. As Doran tries to dash cannon his way out, Casting just going to go in for a bit of a trade instead of an all-in this time, as Keria was making his way over.
I don't know what the post game is going to be like for both of these teams when they're breaking it down, but I guarantee you, Doran's. But I hate this casting guy, man. He's cut it out for me.
Yeah.
Like every time we go there, he's just like trying to find an insane all-in angle onto Doran, or at least a hyper-aggressive trade, and he keeps making them work.
Well, Romer is the one now towards this top side of the map, looking to see whether he can pressure Doran. Gonna quite work out here as True Shot Barrage goes wide, so does a Cocoon. Well, actually, True Shot Barrage hit, but it didn't really do too much.
All right, well, we slow down the game again for a moment here, as I think T1 stabilized quite well, especially with that fail for Romer on the bottom side that gave Faker a lot of gold back. He's still 0-3-2, but some additional assists, some extra time in side lanes has put him into the advantage. And he is trucking towards the second item here. Now, Teddy does have his second item. It's not transformed just yet, but it will be with just a few more Qs onto these minions and or pays. So he's ready to hit that spike here around 19. And the next fight is going to be a really big opportunity for Bro to get back control of this game. But if they don't win a fight, like if T1 just ignore them, or they get like Chemtech soul point and T1 gets a turret on the other side, I don't think that's a win for them. They need to be proactive or proactive, and make something happen here, because if they're not, it is going to be T1, I think, just starting to outscale and starting to really become a bigger problem than what this Akali once was early on for Romer.
Yeah, let's see whether Romer can find a little bit more here. Of course, 2 items feels pretty good for the Akali, but he's not quite there. He's got 1 book as far as that is concerned, and doesn't have very many stacks on his ring either, so hasn't been able to stack that one up after feeling a little bit positive about how things were going to go when he purchased it. It hasn't necessarily made too many dividends, as Namgung holding on to this mid lane alongside Teddy. Pays deals with the wave very nicely. And like you were saying, the Bros sort of slowing down, and they probably shouldn't. Faker is taking his second turret of the game.
It's just starting to crumble, right? And it's not because Bro made a problem right here, or made a mistake right here, this problem is happening. It's Faker is just too strong on sides right now, and there's no resources that Bro can afford to send topside while they're trying to get this turret. They're going to get the overgrowth and the charge, so a lot of money here. Going over to Teddy to put a dent in that gold gap is... Okay, nothing crazy going to happen here, but this is T1 starting to really take a pretty massive advantage, and the Akali train has stopped rolling, right? There's no longer a snowball rolling down the hill for this comp. The Elise is going to fall off quite heavily in terms of what she's capable of doing versus the Pop Blossom engages for Keria. And when Pays has all of these moving parts firing correctly, he becomes a huge menace as well. He's already on 2.5 items himself. And despite Teddy picking up a lot of gold from that mid turret, the crash and the plates there, he's not in a position with his team right now to where he can carry yet, even though he's on 2 items. As Faker?
Yeah, just looking for an angle towards Namgung here. Doesn't have much to go to after that repel, and will now look to flash away. Teddy finding an angle towards Faker here as he doesn't land that last Mystic shot, which would have very much hurt. Still able to hold onto this turret. Not the end of the world right now, although they will lose the overgrowth. And the Raptors will be stolen away here by Ona. Keria being frustrating.
Faker holds his ult there, so it doesn't get the kill, but it's going to be a great safety tool to continue to siege this turret and then to threaten this next dragon that's spawning in 30 seconds. Faker, you don't want to take those shots, though.
Yeah, does take a few cannons. Turret shots there. And 25 seconds on Soul Point for the Bros. So maybe an angle. No flash on the Elise, but that is the only flash that is on cooldown.
This could be the turning point here for Bro, or maybe them kind of seeing the game flash before their eyes. They need to win this dragon fight.
Let's see whether they can, as Gideon stepping up. I'm going already taking a little bit of poke here from Keria, as Ona obviously can engage from any range he would like. As the Bros are in position.
Faker doesn't have TP, he's going to have to slowly make his way over if they want to fight.
Also on a bit of a flank angle here, but is spotted by Romer right now. True Shot Barrage just going to help out with the Dragon at the minute, but doesn't really hit onto the T1 players who are biding their time. Doran is going to dash in, does look for the Elise. He does manage to make his way out of there, but it's the Nico that goes down. The steal comes through for Ona, though, and he takes down his opposite number. Roman now looking to see what he can get done, as Faker will be taken out. It's a massive Q from Casting to keep him alive, and now Teddy is trying to figure it out in the interim. Doran and Ona, oh, great flash to get Doran out of there, but is the Arcane Shift coming back off cooldown, and Teddy despite that, regardless, he is just going to leave.
If that Q hits, I think if he hits that Q, it either is enough damage to kill or he gets the E off of it.
It was a 3 for 3, but the Dragon was stolen.
The Dragon was stolen. Now, this setup here for Bro is actually really nice, and the fact that the Emperor's Divide doesn't hit casting is really the big difference maker here, because he's able to get into the back line. Namgung, his sacrifice was not in vain because he created a lot of disruption here. And once Faker is gone, Pays is gone, the damage is really only on Doran, and it's very difficult to deal with this Ezreal, but some great sidestepping means that Teddy just cannot clean up. Gets the extra flash. This Q missing means that he doesn't get his Arcane Shift.
Man, it would have been very, very close. Teddy now at least has that transformation done, and Faker hits 6,000 assists. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he has the most in the league. Wow, he does,
yeah,
but only by 45.
Yeah, only 45, but that's, look at all the supports and junglers up there.
Yeah, there's a lot that tend to get a fair few assists. Shout out to Lehens for being able to get there. Remember, he debuted how many years? 6 years after Faker? 5 years after Faker?
5, yeah.
Which is, you know, that's a decent amount of time to make up, right? Like getting a few assists with your teammates. We do play more games these days than they did in the past, but still, I'm going to say that's pretty impressive. Now I'm going. Okay. Making his way out. Teddy, Arcane Shift is very high value in that moment. True Shot Barrage comes through, takes the cannon as well, as they're not able to take down the turret. Gideon goes in, Crescent Guard there to keep him alive as Casting gets into that backline. Pop Blossom onto only the Renekton. You can understand why as he cuts down the Jhin. Doran gets himself out of there via the back of the team fight, and Namgung is going to be taken out. Roman now looking for Faker one more time. He really just wants to kill this Azir over and over again, and he is going to be able to do so. Another solo kill here as he makes his way back onto the team, and they'll take down a Baron as well. And I think they're doing it, Wolf.
Very few teams are first picking Azir right now. T1 is really at the top of that list, and very few teams can punish Faker's Azir. And Roamer, the returning rookie, is able to take him out so many times. Faker is 0-5.
Yeah,
he is 0-5 on the Azir right now. But this team fight, the story of it for me, is the short teleport here from the Renekton. As Gideon goes through, this is extremely coordinated from Bro, right? This is the exact opposite of the woes we were talking about indecision. And Cassie gets into a position where you get a massive amount of damage done with both his ultimate and that Q there, gets the stun off, Pays is out. And then Faker just cannot get away from this Akali. Is able to trade flashes here, but that is the best he is going to get. And Bro, going to take the Baron in live. 1,500 gold off the power play. They take a gold lead here. And suddenly, game starts to feel pretty scary if you're a T1 fan. One of the many thousands in the arena right now.
Exactly. Namgung is likely to be dead, but does make his way out of the Emperor's Divide. True Shot Barrage there as well. Is spell shielded nicely by Ona. And that should be the turret going down with the help of these Baroned up minions and some grubs. Thanks, Gideon.
And Doran's going to try to get some pressure on the top side at the same time. He doesn't have TP back just yet. And I think that's going to be the call here for Bro to send the Akali back and otherwise set up that deep vision. They do that there in T1's jungle. A lot of it will be cleared, but see if they punish Doran. I think he should get out.
He is not actually spotted by that Scryer's Bloom, but Roamer is still going to backflip his way in here, just does not check the brush. So Doran will be making his way out.
Look at this
stuff now complete.
2-level lead here for Roamer currently over Faker. Well, it's like fake 2 levels because Faker's about to 15, but Pays.
Yeah, now I'm going looking for the angle, does not find the Cocoon.
Ghostblade.
Therefore, he will get out.
Ghostblade for Rocket Belt there.
Yep.
And
that trade.
I mean, if Pays gets hit by it, he cleanses, but then his cleanse is down, so at least he is able to keep that.
Ooh, Roma doesn't want to go 1v2, as you can understand. And Wolf, I've got a suggestion.
Yeah?
Because of how many times Casting has used these mega cones to engage,
yes,
I want to call the Chemtech Blast Cone the Casting Cone.
I'm down for it. Because like all the casters are always talking about it as well.
Exactly, this is the thing. No one's going to understand why we're calling it the Casting Cone unless you've been watching this exact series right here.
I can't wait for other region casters to pick it up, but just not really get it.
Yeah, right. Although I think it doesn't make very much sense to call it the casting cone in that context, but it's more funny if that then happens.
If the trend happens, you know, all we got to do is get Cagel to start saying Cagel.
Hey, that's true. Like, yeah, Cagel, if you're listening, we need to make the casting cone happen, because casting really has been utilizing these blast cones so well in this game. And it's not every time, right? It's only when Orcs messes up and we get a Chemtech Soul.
Yeah.
So Orcs is in control as to whether we use casting cone or not.
Casting is going to get this, you know, soul point here with his friends, and a Nocturne with vision all around the map against him is not as threatening as he otherwise would be, right? You have a really strong Aurora, but still like only 82 gold ahead of this Renekton this late into the game, but just sitting on 3 items. Doran, it feels like, hasn't been able to do anything in team fights so far this game, and the fights have been so split, not because T1 have messed them up per se, but because Bro have pushed them into uncomfortable positions that T1 have not responded well and have not been able to navigate through the chaos that Bro has set up here, and it's a lot of the time been Casting's Renekton as Gideon.
All right, just walks into the darkness as Doran almost kills Namgung, just 100 to 0, which, you know, we'd say sometimes would be an achievement, but it's an Elise. You kind of just breathe heavily in her direction, and she dies.
Yeah, the fact that he's on 3 deaths here at 28 minutes is actually pretty impressive.
I would say so. Some of Lehens's best Elise games, he died 9 times.
Yeah, it's like POM.
Yeah, exactly.
2, 9, and 4.
I think Beryl had at least 6 of those games as well. Shout out to the GOAT. As Casting here looking to catch this wave on the bottom side of the map, as Faker is going to slink off into the fog of war.
A little bit dangerous here for Owner. Does have Faker's back, but a lot of people are here.
Yeah, let's see whether Roman can get himself out of here as the Emperor's Divide is going to push the Akali back. Goes Golden, is now Casting. Was thinking about going aggressive, does not decide to go in, and Roma, he's able to get out. Faker's now in such an awkward position, and Namgun gets it with a dash cannon. In goes Gideon, the wind becomes lightning, as now Owner is in trouble. He gets smoked, and he should be taken down as Nevermind had to break the fear, but still Gideon gets on top of him. And now Jhin versus Renekton is not a matchup that's great for the Jhin that doesn't have buttons left over, as there's another audacious charge. And indeed it is audacious out of Gideon. Doran, he's given up on team fighting. He doesn't want to do that anymore. I can understand it. But now he's being chased down by Roma, who does have him walking the wrong direction. Still health bar advantage here as, yeah, Kali struggles to stop a teleport.
Yeah, but like they're losing their mid turret. He just lost his TP to escape there. He didn't have mana to try to extend that out. He used his ultimate already. T1 are falling apart, and this is a rare circus punish, right? We talk about the circus all the time, but this right here is T1 circus. Like, screenshot it and put it as your wallpaper if you're a T1 fan. Because the idea is, oh, we'll make a risky play, but we're all here. Like, look at where the rest of the team is on the other side of the wall. You got Paze and Kerry on the right side. They just get called out here. Faker's flash is like 3 seconds away, by the way, when he dies. He is so close to having flash up, doesn't get it in time. Miscalculation, you could argue. But then Owner's pushed away here. They cannot peel for him, and T1 just fall apart because there's another
Casting used the casting cone as well to engage on the Paze.
Exactly. He's casting coning in after TPing on the flank, and
it's perfect.
And then Doran's
casting.
Then Doran right after this is forced to TP away, so he doesn't have TP. And T1 now suddenly 2.5 thousand gold behind.
This is starting to become a real advantage for Hanjin Breon. Now Baron has spawned one more time. And the Bros, they've got a pretty terrifying turn, right? The single target pick from this composition is very deadly. And so can be difficult for T1 to approach. However, with the fact that Owner can just kind of swoop in and has the spell shield there as well for the added layer of safety, can be a little scary, but not going to have an engage just yet. The Bros with a fair bit of vision towards that top side right now aren't too worried about T1 starting a Baron, and 1 minute and a half until we have a Chemtech Soul.
And T1 are playing a Jhin composition, right, where they lost their teleport for the Aurora, who has to be on the bottom side of the map right now to deal with this matchup, and that means that it's hard for T1 to sneak a Baron or like try to set up a fight around the Baron because they will need their Aurora to TP in. They have a Jhin, they don't have the Baron damage, so they kind of are stuck here. Trying to figure out how to play this mid-game, and Bro, we're like, we're looking for a soul here in a minute. Baron's not really on the table for you, so we can just kind of keep some residual vision around there and otherwise try to protect insides. And Doran's teleport's so far away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to say that there's nothing that T1 could do here, but they really have to play very carefully and very slowly and wait for Bro to make the first move and look for a punish. And if they can buy time and slow this down until Doran's TP is back, that's ideal.
And we have to return to what the space was talking about on the pre-show, right? This is going to be the Bro test, the biggest test for Hanj and Brion, because one of their weaknesses has been navigating late game team fights and figuring things out, getting onto the same page and making it happen when the pressure is on. And this is kind of where T1 thrive. At the moment, Bro have a brilliant position in this game, but that could change with some great play out of T1 that we know they have in them.
Faker taking some damage, and Roamer is not here yet.
Yeah, is going to make his way in now, as Doran does a lot of damage to Namgung, but this time his health bar is looking all right. As T1 moving down towards this dragon, it's spawning right now, and T1 have positional advantage.
Bro could give this up, but they want to really force the fight.
Yeah, it looks like they do just want to commit to this. True Shot Barrage onto 3. Massive value here for Teddy as the Bros move in. Arcane shift forward. He is ravenous right now. As Between Worlds goes Doran just for some poke damage as he flashes forward looking to take down the elites. Pop Blossom connects as Carrier gets himself out immediately, but Roma's already taken him down. Faker gets in and he will find the Empress Divide, but they're losing the fight regardless. Owner is going to get hit by the Wind Becomes Lightning, and Faker is trying to kite with these Sand Soldiers, but Roma's at full health, ready to execute them. And Hanj and Brion, they get the soul, and I think they're in position to win game 1.
They could try to turn over the Baron if Teddy lived there, but he does go down, and so now it's a little bit trickier. I think they're going to look for reset, or maybe a pick on the greedy Faker here.
Let's see whether they find it. The Wind Becomes Lightning does not connect, but the flash will come out. Oh, the 3 Talon Strike is going to get the knock up, and another charge takes down the Azir. It's a solo kill for the Xin Zhao here as Gideon. 2-1-4 on the Xin Zhao. Wasn't necessarily the main character of this game, but also able to feed Faker a death.
He has been so aggressive, though, and so successful on this Xin Zhao pick that it's crazy. Now, this is one of Faker's most impactful moments in this game, but it's still not up. The fight is won by the True Shot Barrage. Like,
yeah.
It's very rare for that to actually happen.
3 people.
Yeah. And now Faker's at half health, and Faker has to really bide his time here. He's got flash and ult. Doesn't want to flash, wants to play slowly through Paze's ultimate here. Look at the angle that Faker takes. Like, watch Faker on the left side of your screen. He comes in here behind and goes deep for this, but they unfortunately don't have the bottom side of the fight won. The Akali is still incredibly relevant. This is such a tanky set of champions that are left here to chase them down, and eventually they end up getting Faker moments later. Now, Baron is here to be able to take it.
Oh dear, this could be where the Bros lose the game. They are just going to pull off the Baron as Casting. He can tank it pretty comfortably here. And they have Chemtech's Soul, and he has a Spirit Visage. Yeah, there is he's just not going to have a low health bar for very much of this game. And now Paze takes another True Shot Barrage. Teddy is terrifying with 4.5 items.
And I mean, Majai's got picked up here for Roamer, who I think has really...
Is this the most impressive re-debut we have ever seen?
Well, I mean, effort was pretty crazy, but...
Oh, that's true. And it's the longest winning streak KT have ever had in the history of the organization because Effort re-debuted. Oh, well, it's the wrong year! It's the wrong year for Roman to do this, man!
Pretty much, right?
Second place ain't bad! Something like that.
Gideon has GA now. And even though T1 stopped the initial Baron, they had to use Paze's ultimate to do so. Faker doesn't have flash, he doesn't have TP either. Was able to show up barely there to help stop that Baron as he was coming down as Bro pulled off. But this is really scary because Chemtech's Soul, we talked about how it's great for Nex. It's pretty good for Xin Zhao as well. And when you're a Xin Zhao that has GA at 36 minutes of the game, it's incredible for him, actually.
And it's also pretty phenomenal for the Lifeline passive on a more of Malmortius.
Yeah.
If Teddy actually ever gets down that low, you will just be doing a bunch of extra damage and having that extra healing as well that the Lifeline would provide. T1 need to make sure that they execute him. As in goes Gideon one more time. The aggression does not stop as Roma's ulted in. Looking for Carrier. Could find an angle here. Perfect execution is not actually going to come on through as that True Shot Barrage. That could have actually killed him.
I think they can do this. Teddy's right here. Say he's right, very nearby.
No, he's got he bumped his head. He needs to go home. He needs to go to the hospital.
He's like, guys, I missed the E, so I guess
he hit a tree branch on his way over, I think.
Casting was like, my finger was on the TP, but if you say so, I guess You know, I guess we'll let the game go a little longer.
I think he put the calculation into the FTL wrong. You know, it's what happens sometimes.
But it is funny how I do think the margins for doing that Baron were so thin that he misses the E over the wall, and they're like, nah, actually, we can't do it now.
Yep. I hope someone appreciated the Battlestar Galactica reference. If you did, I appreciate you too.
It wasn't me, I'm sorry to say.
That's
but
all right.
I appreciate you.
I mean, if you've got some time, I say jokingly to a dad, you could watch it, but you won't, and you don't have time. So maybe somebody else can instead. As Roma will be able to take down this top wave of minions, and they haven't quite got the Baron yet. And it's only a 3,000 gold lead, and there is almost, like, it's under 2 minutes to Elder. This is still T1-able. This game is still very T1-able.
I kind of feel like with double GA, Teddy on Ezreal at 38 minutes, I don't think Bro are losing this game. They have still enough map control to start this up, and T1 are a little bit blind here. FaZe is in the base. Like, I think this is just gone.
I mean, it should be, unless it's stolen with a paranoia. As Doran throwing some things around. Teleport does come in to make sure that they have some vision available, and they've also got some of these control wards in the back of the pit. But T1 Bro just pull off. In goes Owner, he steals it away. Obviously, he was gonna steal it away. As now Roma looks for a flank angle, but he's on vision himself. And T1 just take the Baron and walk away.
It is almost comical how that happened. But let's see if Bro can escape now, because they're kind of getting wrapped around on by Doran here, and also the mid turret is up for grabs.
It really does feel a little bit like the script writers are getting lazy, I'm not going to lie. As Roma looking for an angle here, but more control vision is there for T1, as Faker will take down this inner turret in the mid lane.
So everything that Bro did everything right for the most part. Like, they cleared the vision, they stopped the Baron, like they stopped taking it, they held the HP, they cleared the vision, they pushed Faker out first. They're like, okay, if Owner comes in at this point, it's gonna be really difficult to steal. And then he stole it at, like, I want to say 500. So they kind of just messed up the smite.
Yeah, I would also go to the sky. As Namgung almost dies anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Doran with the pullback.
Owner
is almost able to kill him.
Of course, still has his ultimate available after using it just moments ago, because he is Nocturne, he is level 18.
As Casting almost gets one shot by Doran as well. This doesn't seem like it should be allowed, but he finishes his death cap, and now it is just
Elder's up.
Killing everyone. Yes, and Elder is up and available. Oh, the Bros really, it feels like something has gone wrong.
Starting to teeter a little bit. I mean, obviously with the Baron on the other side, you don't have pry out, it's hard to wrap around, but they do get in position to actually pull T1 back. Roamer?
Yeah, let's see whether the backflip is going to be enough, and it is. Dash Cannon as well to create even more space as the rest of T1 thinking about starting this up. Gideon's there.
Here comes Casting
over here as well. It is very scary. Doran gets in there with the blast cone as Casting.
He's got the casting cone.
He does. There are two of them, in fact. Namgung thinking about trying his hand at one of those as well. And Faker wrapping around. They get on top of Teddy. Empress Fight is going to miss it, but it does not matter. As down goes the Ezreal. Roma gets into that backline, but this time there's no Ezreal to get that damage in. And Namgung is now dead. Can the Bros still find the angle? That's the question. Is there still a lot of damage? And Roma does do a bunch of work before going down. So is Casting, who is an absolute monster on this Renekton. The GA is eaten up here, and now T1 with only 2 left alive.
They have to fight for this.
Try and escape. Exactly right. Casting does try and slice on top of FaZe, and he dices to get himself out of the way. And T1, I think they will be able to get control of this Elder area, and the Bros are just letting them take it.
I was so huge there from FaZe. He spaced it incredibly well. He does so much damage.
11,000 damage.
So much damage. If FaZe does not actually get that shot to land and do all that damage there to pop the GA early, then I think they might end up losing that Elder. Pretty crazy, but the main crux of this is Teddy didn't get to play the game. And after Teddy gets caught here, Romer is like, all right, let's see what I can do. He blast cones into the back line here, goes into the Shroud, and then was able to get access here to the pit. It's actually crazy how much damage Romer was able to get done.
Yeah, he played it beautifully.
He dies.
Hitting the backflip before going into stasis to avoid the fear and then gets back into the fight. Very clean.
It's crazy what he was able to do there, and then it turns into a 2v2 here, but Casting just gets blasted, loses his GA here, and then cannot get close to FaZe. FaZe spaces this perfectly, and then that's the end of it. You know, they have Elder now. It's not impossible. I mean, the gold is dead even, but that matters very little at 41 minutes anyways, regardless of who could have had a lead. But with this Baron, with this Elder online here for T1, it is very difficult to defend the siege.
Well, True Shot Barrage comes in. Owner is going to be able to spell shield it, but the inner turret is certainly going to go down.
And how many times do we say Doran almost got the kill? He 100% gets it now with Elder and any of those.
No, he doesn't have Elder. So it's only Owner and Pace that actually have the Elder.
I thought he had it. My bad.
So, I mean, the fact that a Jhin has it is very, very frightening because he can hit people from very far
you're right.
away.
It's only the two that were alive. My bad.
Yep. Yeah. But it's still not really. It feels like it's only on two, but actually it's kind of on everyone because if Paze just like gets a dancing grenade across the whole team, then they're still going to die.
I accept full responsibility for that.
No, my bad. Completely fine. It's very good for getting pentas for Paze.
Sure.
Let's just say that.
Well, when you recalibrate to the truth, obviously it's still very good, but not as good for Doran as I was trying to allude to there. As we do have a bit of a flank here for Roamer.
Well, let's see whether he can actually get in. That's the question. As the Bros, they need to go back to their aggressive ways, try to execute Paze, and then move on through the team fight from there. But it looks like T1 going to look for a little bit of a reset. 20 seconds left on this Elder is going to mean that the base will remain intact as they do stop some backs. Paze loses a third of his health bar, and that top wave
a massive wave,
should be able to take down this turret.
I mean, if they had TP, they might even consider trying to force a big reaction at T1 with just one TP, but they don't have it.
That's so the gold lead, by the way, is 700.
It's 700. It's been pretty much dead even for a while now, and the Baron is going to be the next fight location. In terms of summoners here, Roamer's down flash, casting down flash, those are pretty huge. Faker doesn't have his. Paze, he doesn't have his, but his positioning has been so good this game that I worry very little for him, especially because he's a Jhin and he has cleanse. But it's blue side advantage for Baron that feels the scariest here for T1. They were able to get the steal with Owner last time around, but who knows if they'll be able to do that again if Bro end up getting too strong of a positional advantage here. Teddy's true shots, man.
Yeah, he is just throwing them out off cooldown and does seem to just magnetize them towards Paze. Teddy is very scary with full items. I'm so used to saying 6 items, but it's 7. I guess if you include boots. Maybe it's true 6. We'll give it a true 6 items. As you don't need to sell boots anymore, which is kind of cute. Still, Owner is getting vision down where he can. And the Bros, I think the Bros know that they need to kill Owner if they ever want to take a Baron. And Roamer is going to get spotted. Great blast cone there from Doran. Gives them the heads up as to exactly where this Akali's going. Man, he's on a pool bay mission right now.
It's really tough for T1 to start Baron unless they can get even more push here because of the Jhin, right? Faker does have TP, and he's actually very safe.
Yeah, Gideon just going to taxi over to the Merc Wolves here with the help of Namgung, as Teddy is almost just dead from a curtain call that is going to get pressed here. The 4th shot not going to land, but still, Teddy had a GA, so he was going to be all right as man. Roamer, dude, we need you somewhere that's not like in the middle of nowhere.
I think what he's trying to do is threaten a flank to keep T1 honest. But because they have so much vision in the jungle behind them, they're kind of just like...
It's the longest of long con.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the idea was to try to keep T1 scared, but they're not scared because they have all those words like, yeah, well, you're not flanking me from an area I'm worried about, so...
It's also the spirit of Jhin, right? This is Teddy versus T1, right? As Roamer looks for Paze, he gets into that backline, the flank! It may have paid off as he gets him down to the GA! Goes golden here as well as Kerry gets in with the Puff Blossom! Roamer finds the perfect execution and down goes Paze! It's a 1-for-1 as now Gideon is getting the value from this Chemtech Soul. Still holds on to his GA, and now it's Casting that dashes in. Gets on top of Faker. He will go golden though, and now Casting is going to survive. He's still slicing and dicing. He has that GA to keep him safe. And he's putting this Chemtech Soul through its paces. The Bros, they may have just done it. T1 have lost their carries.
I think this is going to be the push to end the game. Casting still has GA, so does Gideon. And there's just no damage here. Doran does go back up to full. He has to be the one to defend. He gets the GA.
Yep, there is one of the GAs taken down here and takes out Namgung as well. Doran has to do this by himself as Carrier doesn't have a massive amount of damage, and Ona is melee, and it is going to be enough to get the Bros out of here.
Yeah, he does do it. He does stop
25 seconds on Elder as well.
25 seconds on that. Baron is up, but they have vision of a T1 do, so they know
Roma has teleport and Faker doesn't, so Roma can actually get to a fight around this Elder as soon as it's
They also have the real, like they have real damage with this Ezreal, as this fight was crazy. We were debating what he was trying to do with the flank, and then he's just like,
whatever it was, it worked.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
And then Faker here is kind of caught, but I think we really need to go back to live, because this Elder setup is really going to be game deciding. This is a very cool moment for Bro, but doesn't ultimately end the game. Now Elder is on the cards, and T1 have Owner in position. Casting's on the flank.
Yeah, another True Shot Barrage comes in. It's casting. It's the casting code one more time as Roma gets on in there to take him down, but still he's going to die. Casting, slicing and dicing through the fight here, but it's Aurora that's doing so much damage. Doran is just gigantic. Empress Dividers, Faker swoops in, and there's the Elder #2 to go over to T1. This circus, ladies and gentlemen, they saved the best for the homestand. And the Bros, I think, are now in absolute dire straits as we do hit the longest game in 20 seconds time.
Well, at the end of the day, this time Doran's got the Elder. Owner is going to spell shield. And this True Shot Barrage is Teddy's last hope. They're trying to clear this wave so desperately.
Oh my goodness. They looked at Namgung and he almost just straight up died as Teddy Arcane shifted into the Aurora damage.
They clear the wave. They're going to get some time here to get Teddy up to as much health as he can get.
I mean, there's no Baron, right? So they're trying to utilize these death timers in order to go in. There's the paranoia as, oh my goodness. These turrets just do not last. As now it's a naked Nexus. In goes Ona. He will be taken out by Teddy, though, who manages to outplay it. Doran getting himself out of the way is this Nexus. It's so close to dead. It's Teddy. He takes down the Jin. It's a double as he executes Doran, but the Nexus will go down. And T1 win the narrowest game one against the Bros I have ever seen in my life.
My God, the stun coming out from the Renekton was almost enough to buy them that extra second there.
You know what?
That was crazy.
I think the only thing that separated that game from a victory for Bro was Degon's prediction.
Yeah, that probably was.
I think if they had that extra level of faith, they would have been able to pull it through.
I gotta say, this was, for me, what I think Bro, Hans and Brian have been capable of this entire year, but we hadn't seen the decisive calls to them. I think there's real talent in this roster, and we saw it on display here. It's been a while since we saw Romer. He was popping off. We had Casting crushing the early game into Doran on the Aurora. Gideon had some great moments, but a few calls that were a bit rushed. That steal from Owner that saved the game. T1, still an incredibly strong team here, but Bro made the series interesting.
They really did. I'm just very sad because I feel like the likelihood of a 3-gamer has gone down after one of the most epic games that we've had all year long. Everyone, all of your bro tax needs to be paid right now to make sure that they can bring this to 3. The Inspire Arena deserves it. Time for us to take a short break. When we get back to space to break it down, then game 2.
보지 않는다.
나공 15초. 내가 고치 뺄 생각. 나 공밖에 지원할게. 딜러들이 해줘야 돼.
다 노플이야.
라인부터 다음
그렇죠.
라인. 이즈 반피.
싹다 노플, 싹다 노플. 집은 내가 막았어.
확인.
해도 돼.
얘네 아칼리 15초.
아 여기.
타워 쳐야 됐다 이거. 공 한번 켜줄게.
다 노플이야.
공 한번 켜줄게. 타워. 야 타워 더.
과감하게 해줘.
나 그냥 들어줄게. 나가도 돼?
아칼리 5초, 아칼리 5초.
유지 반피. 타워 쳐야 돼. 타워.
아칼리 3초.
타워 되나? 타워.
타워 쳐봐. 아칼리 나온다. 타워 쳐야 돼.
나 좋았어.
이거 한 대 쳐야 돼, 한 대.
쉣.
Oh, wow.
Who could have guessed?
You could have, Wolf, because you did.
Yeah.
I saw that one. Orianna going to be taken away here. Even T1 banning that one, although I imagine the bros probably would have wanted to take that one away as well.
The big question
does have first pick.
Outstanding are Jarvan, Pantheon, and the Varus. So Ryze is taken away from Faker.
All right.
He does enjoy to play every meta mid lane champion right now, quite a lot.
And the Ryze feels a little bit better when the Azir is taken away, but the Anivia was still up, so this Ryze ban is kind of odd. The Varus still going to be taken away, though, largely aimed towards the top Varus, which is kind of being a bit ridiculous at this point in time.
It's just such a flexible pick, because it can even technically be played mid, but see the Karma ban. And so Pantheon here would leave us to a pretty open-ended draft and probably push towards that Jarvan first pick. Here for Hanj and Brion, and because there's no Ezreal available, that feels pretty nice here for Hanj and Brion if they are going to lock that one away. Now, if it's banned by T1, they'll give the Pantheon over, but there's no Ryze with it, but it's still incredibly powerful on its own.
I wouldn't mind like a Lulu ban or an Ashe ban or something like that instead. They will go for the Pantheon here, but it does mean you can lock in Jarvan now and then lock away a strong bottom lane immediately afterwards if you would like to, and then leave your solo lanes up until after the next round.
It could be that Hanj and Brion are worried about playing into Ashe Seraphine with this Jarvan first pick. They're actually going to swap over to the Annie instead, which works well with a lot of different junglers. So even though you give up the Jarvan here, you could play Wukong with this, which has been quite common and quite popular over the years.
I mean, it was some pretty Ryze group gaming. And we do know that the Annie Wukong was certainly a bit of a Ryze-themed pick.
Faker likes to play Galio into Annie. He does not like to play the more common picks that we've seen more recently in the Mel and very, very recently the Hui. So
Aurora does like to play into it as well, but it looks like we've got some Frostfire happening in this mid lane.
A flex pick here, but likely to be Faker's pick.
That's true. It is a triple flex, as it turns out.
And
a little bit more when you've got Zeus in your top lane, but Doran can probably play it.
I think Jarvan is pretty warranted here, and they will do it. So now, if you're Hanj and Brion, you have a tough call to make. Do you go for the Ashe Seraphine, which works incredibly well with this, to lose the Wukong pick? And Wukong very weak into Jarvan in the early game because he just does not do ganking, whereas the Jarvan does all of the ganking and has all of the mobility. Or, you know, like, what's the call here? Do you go for Ashe Seraphine and try to flex? Is Rumble's
up? Okay!
I kind of blanked on that one.
Me too.
It's always just permanently banned in my head. So.
Exactly. I just didn't think that it was possible for this champion to be played, and it makes it to the third round. T1 are also famously the team that just did not play Rumble.
Okay,
well, this was picked up B5.
This is just like a Giga draft suddenly, because you get Rumble Vi and you have the Annie. Sure, it's a lot of magic damage on the top side, but the setup could not be simpler.
Yeah, and also, with this much magic damage, it means that Teddy can get unleashed on the bottom side of the map. It does depend what he's going to be playing. They will have extra bans to throw at him as well, if they would like to. This is also a draft that does kind of lend itself to some Pyke. If Namgung wants to head back that direction as well.
This is going to get really interesting. Is this going to be the Sion counter pick here for Doran? The top side is the Rumble. Yeah. The Rumble will still have Prio, though, even though this has been a pretty strong and common response to the Rumble. So now we're looking at bottom lanes.
K'Sante is picked more, though, right? Like,
yeah,
it's still the same idea. You just pick a tank and then just absorb, right? Build some magic resist. But I think it's less effective than what we've seen the K'Sante find in the past.
With the Nautilus ban here, if I'm Hanj and Brion, I'm pretty much thinking like, all right, this guy either wants to play Yunara or he wants to play Zeri. And he's got a Sion, he's got a Jarvan set up here. They got the late game Anivia aspect of this. So if you're Hanj and Brion, maybe you just take both of those away. Take away the Ashe first.
All right.
So one of those 2 picks will be available for FaZe, who does have pick priority here if he wants to use it, but he will not be able to get a Lulu automatically.
I'm very intrigued as to what bot lane Brion have cooked up for us. Teddy has, of course, been around for a while, so has played a whole bunch of things and a whole bunch of metas.
I think one of his best picks that he can't pick here because of the Jarvan is the Sivir.
Yep.
Which would have worked incredibly well with this comp. They'll be the ones to ban the Yunara away, T1R.
Okay. Yunara not exactly the greatest into Jarvan because you do have to use your ulti to get out of the Cataclysm, but generally if you're getting Cataclysmed, you want to be pressing ulti anyway.
It's true. Pike is going to get taken away, so there's a lot of picks you can go here. If you're Hanjin Brion, maybe you're thinking about a Lucian pick here even because you have so much great setup in CC. The burst follow-up is so easy for Teddy.
I also think that there's a Caitlyn angle, and so did T1. They're going to look to try and take that one away here. I feel like Caitlyn has been a bit up and down, right? There are certainly angles to fight into this lane. It's not as it used to be, which was just entirely oppressive and you don't get to play the early game.
A lot of the time back then we didn't have range support as a viable option, but it's much more viable now. This makes a lot of sense. Can go into the lane feeling, okay, you're not going to get just stomped on. It's a very powerful laning champ, and it works incredibly well when the enemy champions can't move, which is what the mid and jungle are going to be doing to T1 in team fights. It feels bad for Teddy because he doesn't get to have the hyper carry impact on this pick that he would have in a lot of other situations.
Poppy is such massive value. This is very cute. I would have actually liked Gideon to be playing it. He was a brilliant Poppy's jungle player, but his Vi is already locked in. Namgung still trying to make up his mind, and picking away the Leona is what they're trying to figure out now. Do they want to do that, or do they want to pick up the Poppy for themselves? Leona will be the decision, just to make sure that Teddy isn't just getting solar flared out of his ultimate every time.
I think you could just go Lux here if you're Keria because you have enough engage. Milio would be crazy.
Yeah, that is not what I was
expecting. Pretty good value into this comp, though, with the Leona and the Annie on the other side.
Yep, very true. And it's AoE cleanse.
Yeah.
And so Annie, like Flash Tibbers, doesn't feel nearly as bad when you... Oh, this is another way to preemptively get rid of it. And your laning phase is even stronger.
This is the Giga angle because it both has the Black Shield to stop the CC like you're talking about, but is incredibly powerful in lane.
And now also, Teddy has to play AP Misfortune to make sure that the Naked Rain is going to pop the Black Shield.
The other thing about this, too, for Namgung is he was hoping that he could play this Leona both defensively against dives for the Jarvan, but also to be as an engage tool for the rest of this team to set things up. And
I mean, Leona and Rumble together is really, really powerful.
Plus Vi, right? Plus Annie. Like this works incredibly well here for Hanjin Brion, but if you get caught on set engage in the lane, if Namgung's like, I think I have an angle here, I'm going to go for a Zenith Blade, and then you just get stunned or, you know, locked up by the Q there from the Morgana, you're just dead. You know, you're stunned forever. You're not going to be able to get out of there. Rooted, I should say, but you know what I mean. My point is, these melee champions are not going to like it, so when you commit into Morgana, she might spell shield your CC and then lock you down and you die, and then it's like, yeah, that's all I needed was just one Q to stop everything that you were doing. And the spell shield alone is so high value here. The lane phase is so powerful for T1.
Yeah,
this Morgana pick was insane.
Yeah, once they get out of the laning phase, though, there's Rumble and Annie that can break the Black Shield very comfortably, right? It is going to be a little bit more difficult to keep that one up, but like you say, in the lane, my goodness. This Morgana feels like a bit of a masterstroke, not to mention a strong lane just in general. Let's get into it. All right, man. Inspire kind of exploding here today.
I don't like it that there's no bro chant. I don't know how to
maybe we missed it. Maybe it happened
right
beforehand and it was massive, Wolf. In my mind, the bro chant is just, it's a pipeline for all of the bro tags that they've been claiming.
I know it's the T1 homestand, you know, it's their home ground. They've got everything set up. It's all about T1. That's the whole point, but I don't know. I would have liked to hear the guy, at least some other MC, chant bro and it be silent. Like, that would feel powerful in its own way, but ultimately, we're going to jump into this 1v, or rather 2v2 down here at level 1, and Namgung is not going to like it, like we were kind of alluding to earlier. If you go in, that's the end of that.
Faker also doesn't like it as double electrocutes come out and the egg is just sitting there in the middle of the lane. And Romer's level 1, so he can't kill it. Oh dear. Well, Faker is going to come back with half of his health bar. And no egg.
That doesn't necessarily matter right now, but it definitely could matter later.
Yeah, able to sidestep.
It's later.
There's Flash Frost as well. So yeah, Romer having a good time. Fire does beat ice.
Yeah.
If my Pokemon is still correct.
Last time I put an ice cube next to a fire, it stopped being an ice cube.
But it did then become Water Wolf.
Yeah, but it kind of like spilled over the floor and couldn't quite get to the fire, so...
Yeah, and then once it stops being ice, it then becomes water. And at that point, obviously, water is better than fire, as we know.
It's a bit tricky.
It is a bit tricky how
Faker,
it sort of melds like that.
He still has Flash, so and he also has this ward here, so he's going to be totally fine. Gideon wanted to make an opportunity, realized. As Namgung had to back, so this should just be a free plate to the Caitlyn, and this lane is going as it should.
Oh, no.
Oh, rip.
I actually thought that he was going to be able to get that. I thought the turret didn't have enough damage. However, it did. So he misses a cannon and is really in a bit of a rough spot here. Double the CS here for the Caitlyn. And
So
obviously,
annoying.
I mean, you have a melee support and you're outranged. Like, it's just not a fun time.
Yeah, it's great for the team fighting, the Namgung pick here, but otherwise...
Has to cleanse to avoid the Peacemaker?
Yikes. Okay, well, the news isn't getting better here for Teddy and Namgung right now, but it's getting potentially worse because Owner's coming.
Yeah, he is looking for a little bit of a dive opportunity. They will have to
ward.
stop Teddy's back. Yeah, great ward is going to spot Owner moving on over. I think he saw that ward go down, and so he's not going to give his position away.
Teddy is down 14 CS. He's going to be down even more. Oh, I mean, he's not getting any of this, so that's going to stay the case as he had to back there, and Namgung is just going to get the experience. So he'll finally get level 3 off of that wave because he spent some time back himself. T1, strong early laning phase in the bottom lane. Top side, Doran only a few CS down, holding his own there in the tough matchup in the early game here into the Rumble. Faker, he lost Egg, but you know, that doesn't, again, necessarily mean anything if it's not punished.
Yeah, casting just unfortunately misses a cannon and takes a turret shot. That is a series of unfortunate events, I would say, for this Rumble.
Loved that series when I was younger.
Yeah, thanks, Lemony Snicket.
It's not his real name.
It is in my mind.
I don't know what his real name is, so.
No, neither do I. Didn't even read the book.
Basically real. Oh, you didn't read the books?
No, I didn't. I think I watched the movie a very long time ago, but did not read the books.
That's fair. I mean, you know.
I don't like, you know, like just bad news. And aren't those books just bad news?
Yeah, it is legit.
Isn't it bad news, the series?
It is that, yes. It's like every happy ending is like, and then it was almost sort of okay. And that's the best we got.
Yeah. Doesn't seem great. As, okay, point blank Dark Binding is going to connect on to Namgung. This time at least he has Eclipse.
This does feel like this game script could have been written by Lemony Snicket, though. As the bottom lane is very unfortunate for Namgung. Cards that he dealt himself, though, unlike the Baudelaire family. We're just a little bit unlucky. As this lane is not going to get better. Another route. And Owner is here. They want to set something out now. It's very difficult to dive a Leona because she has a lot of the CC buttons.
Yeah, Teddy doesn't have Cleanse, though, so he can't stop the CC buttons. As Namgung somehow sides... I don't know how that worked, but it kind of did. As the Black Shield is going to stop the Shield of Daybreak from working out.
Gideon's somewhat nearby, but he will be seen by this ward, so I think this will be the end of the pressure here for T1.
Good news is the bros are alive. The bad news is they don't have any money.
Well, define alive.
It is not dead.
True. Okay, fair.
And that's where I'm at.
Still not in the death chamber. Still able to control their characters. Yeah.
Indeed.
Because he's
green, not black and white.
He's 562. You know, it's iterating a little bit. Gold behind. Finds himself 20 CS behind. Teddy does, and is Misfortune. So needs the rest of the map to be kind of smashing it. And so far, it's really only Romer who has a lead anywhere else. As casting has not been able to continue to put the pressure onto Doran, is starting to really turn this one around, as Sion often does, as he starts to get items and starts to get levels. Has his ultimate, tanking, or rather gaining health, getting tankier.
Carrier poking his head in towards the mid lane, but isn't able to find any inroads. Gideon now on his blue buff, but does have Owner to contend with. As Vault Breaker brings Gideon over towards his Gromp now. It looks like Owner will be able to get this steal, as Gideon needs to protect his bottom lane.
Yeah, he is close to 6. This Gromp, I don't think, is enough. Hard to judge with that bar.
Owner is spotted on vision.
Okay,
That heading
enough.
towards the dragon is actually going to start it up by the looks of things.
or rather, Gideon has level 6, but doesn't have anywhere to go with it, right? Like, it's tough to gank mid. Dragon here, they don't have any prio, so I'm going, do not do that. Do not go in on that.
They are looking very tempted.
I would not suggest it without your Misfortune Ultimate. You're very close there.
Oh, Dark Binding is now on cooldown, but yeah, I don't think the bros are really going to be able to capitalize. Just be happy that you can access the wave.
And the Dragon didn't go over. Owner decided not to go for that, decided to look for something here in mid, and Gideon covered, so ends up being Bros holding on a little bit down here on the bottom side.
Yep. Teddy will get bound, and the Peacemaker comes in once again. It's like clockwork, as there is the farm alarm.
Yeah, maybe like right now the rest of the team is like, put that on silent mode.
Yeah, exactly. Even vibrate is a bit annoying.
Or as we like to call it here in Asia, manner mode.
Manner mode.
So it's called. It's great. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Actually brilliant. All right, Dark Binding goes wide once again, but yeah, it's still bad news.
It's just like, it doesn't matter if he hits it or not. The fact that he can hit it means they have to just kind of huddle under the turret. Doran is Scion, so this is going to be tricky.
Does still have to flash, as the ulti is on cooldown. Can't use that in order to escape. Still, Gideon not going to press the R button or anything like that, as Owner makes his way over. Was thinking to try and catch Roma here.
They have a lot of prio in the top lane, so this is a little risky for T1. Faker has his egg back.
Gideon a little bit frustrated because he almost gets pulled off his grubs as the Black Shield does so much work here. Headshot on an Namgung as well. One more auto, and that is first blood over to Carrier. Bros, you opted into that.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about in the draft. Like, if you go in on the Morgana, she just, spell shields and goes low, and roots you, and then you die. It didn't work out the way he was hoping for.
Gideon gets out, does take an auto attack with him, but it looks like Roma is going to be okay, makes it back to lane. The Gideon grubs are taken. But this turret is almost taken as well. And it's almost 1,000 gold in the lead here for this Caitlyn lane.
Remember game 1?
Never forget.
It was so close and so hype.
It was something, Wolf. It really was. And this is starting to form into not something. It's starting to form into...
Wait a minute.
Okay, possible angle here as Gideon finds the cease and desist. Doran still with no ulti available and also doesn't hit the Q. I think this Scion, ladies and gentlemen, is dead.
All right.
Breaker to take down the kill.
They got him.
All right, 1-1. If you look at that part of the scoreboard,
It's tie
amazing.
game. Tie game,
exactly.
Atlas. Yeah.
Still super close, Wolf. And they've got 3 grubs. I think Bro are in the lead.
When that dragon is killed for T1, it doesn't make the 1 into a 2. So I still think the game state is the same.
Right. They do have a dragon now, though, so... I mean, it's 3-1, though. They only took 1 dragon, and they took 3 grubs on the Bro side.
I mean, that's a good way of looking at things. That's the kind of optimism I need.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why they pay me the big bucks for the optimism. That's what it is.
There's still an angle for Teddy to be relevant with all the CC, even 1,300 gold behind. He's not going to be winning any awards for like an 80 carry battle. It's not going to be saying bot diff in the all chat if they win this game, but he can follow up on a lot of the CC here if it's set up properly for him. So the game is not all for naught, but Caitlyn's supposed to do well. But when you opt into the Leona and then opt into like going into the Morgana, as the Leona in this case, it's not supposed to be like this hard.
Yeah.
But there's hope for Teddy yet. Not for this turret though, I don't think.
No, this turret is very much going to go down. Dark Binding does go wide as Solar Flare is going to straight up miss, and that means that Teddy's ultimate is also whiffing as well.
Well, he kept the turret alive.
Yeah, Solar Flare is a button that's hard to press when there's a black shield.
Yeah, it's hard to crowd control them when the shield says that that's not allowed.
Yeah.
Well, the turret will still go down.
It will. That is no longer a turret. That is rubble.
How do you headshot a turret?
You shoot it in the head.
It's got like a head. It's got a little like owl-looking
exactly
thing going on.
So it's just in the head part is where you aim the bullet. I think
Shoot it
that's
in the
how goes.
beak.
Yep, straight in the beak.
Beak shot.
Exactly right.
Well, this is the same story that we've been telling for the last 11 minutes, frankly, in this game. There was the topside pick. They did get that done, but otherwise, now the Caitlyn is unleashed to go elsewhere. And right now, feeling like it's old lame swap meta. We're going topside. We're going to maybe try to punish this Rumble here. Here we go.
Yeah, the Scion has left the station and has left all of his abilities on the floor.
There's a lot of
well.
Bro coming up.
On casting, we'll be able to grab these minions as well as Pays gets double harpooned. That might mean he's killable, as Carrier is a long way away. Still Teddy getting some free time with this outer turret on the bottom side will be good news,
Yeah,
and he is unanswered right now.
I think just straight up, if you're Hanjin here, you have to shadow the Rumble, but don't commit. Don't be the aggressor. Be the defender and let Teddy get money. And I think that's exactly what they're just going to kind of huddle here and make it so that Pays cannot actually dive. And I was getting some plate gold. Okay, they're not going to do that.
Yeah,
they're going to go now.
Pays immediately cleanses. Does have the black shield from Carrier, but that is now worn off. There's a teleport in from the Annie. That's going to take about 15 years for him to get there, and Pays will be burnt to a crisp after those 15 years are up, as Roma does make his way through.
There were two teleport wards Faker could have utilized there to wrap around behind them. That I thought maybe that was going to be how T1 decided to punish there.
Wait a second. The Bros are actually doing pretty well.
Yeah, no, it kind of feels like almost playable.
Yeah.
Because they got the knockdown of the Caitlyn there on the top side. A lot of money going over to Annie right now on the push. Teddy also got a significant amount of money solo there on the bottom side of the map. You can see he's still 2,000 gold behind, but still a lot of relevant gold going over to this Misfortune. And I thought if Bro had committed there, they would have gotten punished, but T1 just kind of slink away, and the teleport was not really that impactful, but they just leave Pays out to dry. Faker could have TP to try to come in and catch on those wards there that you could see on your screen to the top side of the map, but did not opt for it. Instead wanted to get plate gold. But Bro fighting back.
Indeed. 2,000 gold is, you know, it's a large lead at this stage of the game. But if they hold on to just that deficit, you know, for another 10 minutes, you're going to be feeling a whole lot better about it. As Gideon's also able to take his Raptors. Oh, it's perfect. It's beautiful. As casting, able to dodge another Q. Swifty's doing work here as he now overheats and just cuts down Doran's health bar. Man, he's got some magic resist, but not enough. As Solar Flare is going to not connect onto Faker. Neither does the Zenith's Blade, and he flashes away.
Okay, good job, Faker.
Good job, Faker.
That was actually quite a dire situation, but he handled it well. He does not have flash anymore, but I think that's fine with him because he's got his res, he's got his egg, and there is just no way for them to follow up on this right now. So good escape there. As Pays is, I mean, he got plates on the top side, got plates and a turret on the bottom side. Now he's got his sights set on this mid turret. He's just doing all the Caitlyn things.
I like how you said sights, and that was like actually he bought a sight. That's his first item.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
He's also got that on his gun too, because it's Caitlyn.
Really, really cool. All right, Romer is going to be denied his little run towards Faker, but he will still stun him and drop down the bear. In goes Gideon, and they look to try and fry this one. It's looking sunny side up. At this point, as he will come back and then immediately gets punched, and down goes the bird.
Well,
Namgung is in a position right now, ladies and gentlemen. I would call this a spot that he is in. He's not going to get snared, but also doesn't get bound. Now he's on a merry jaunt through the enemy jungle. Gives them the good old deft thumbs up. Let's see what the Bros can get on the rest of the map, because Namgung is very dead. Does sidestep the knock-up there. That's pretty cute. There's a blast going down here as well as Teddy's for Pays. Equalizer goes down, and Pays has to flash to get out of the way of that one. Finally, Namgung will be taken out. As Pays was walking on over, he's like, Carrier, stop trying to help kill this Leona. I need help.
T1's lead is still very significant. Pays' lead is the lead.
Yeah,
but
it's the whole gold lead.
It's severely diminished now with some of these plays that were made. When Faker initially had to flash, I was like, okay, that was good by Faker because he's safe now. But then this happened, where he pushed up to clear this wave with his ultimate and did not, I think, account for the fact that Gideon could be topside here. He didn't have vision on the top side of Hanjin's jungle, so he just ends up dying here. In live, Grower grouped on the dragon, as you guys can see, but have not yet started it, working on that crab. But that happens, the mid lane collapse happens, Pays loses flash on this Caitlyn, so Bro are being proactive again, just like they were in game one.
Yep, proactivity paying off. And It is still a gold lead, but that is halved. It's kind of crazy what the Bros have been able to do to make their way back in this game. Rift Herald going to be traded for Dragon by the looks of things.
Let's see what the soul is.
Yeah, it's going to be Ocean. So we've had Chemtech into Ocean. It is not exactly high value as Faker's Wall not able to do too much here as Casting overheats and looks to take him down. Remember, there is no egg and there is no flash. It's just a dead bird as he will take the turret for his trouble. Owner collects the eye here as he is committed to this Rift Herald.
Oh, Roamer?
He's just going to interrupt that one by pressing Incinerate.
I don't think that Owner could have done anything for Faker there, and he really needed to get that Herald, so... You know, if he had dropped Herald earlier and Faker was like, I think he's going to go on me, let's actually get the kill, then we'll get the Herald, that could have been okay, but at the timing in which, you know, he could have come over once Faker was already caught there, it was just not a good idea. He would have dropped Herald and would have been a disaster, so he has to hold Herald and take it. He does pick it up, so that's going to be a guaranteed turret, very likely, in this game. So this one is basically dead, mid is also basically dead. But Faker here just gets run down. He uses the wall to buy time, but there's just too much damage in this Rumble.
I do think that it might have even been worth it to just kill the minion wave, as there was a lot of minions there. Although I think, yeah, most of the minions did survive, so I think Casting did get back there. But man, it was a juicy wave, and maybe that's what Faker thought. He's like, the teleport will come in, he'll kill the wave, and I will be able to get himself out. Also did have the wall, but just wasn't able to use it effectively enough against these Swifty boots on the Rumble.
Yeah, just not quite able to make it work. Still this top jungle here for Bro, going strong in this game. And Teddy, again, like I said, I don't want to call him utility, but he's really just follow-up, right? He's combo-based in this game. So
oh, yeah.
He's already pretty stable in mid lane with Bloodthirster alone, as we're going to see a bit of a skirmish here, potentially. Gideon's going to clear this vision.
Yeah.
And T1 will opt out.
Casting lurking in this brush. Extra pretty brush now that we have an Ocean Rift on our hands.
The IE is out and sharpened here for Pays. He is ready to team fight, but the rest of his team is not really set up for the mid game that he was hoping for. He's like, I got it. I did the Caitlyn thing. You guys are all good to fight, right?
Yeah.
Faker's like, I'm on 3 sacks of Rod.
Yeah. Pays also kind of wants another item for him to be really powerful. And obviously 4 is kind of the sweet spot. So bullet time comes on down. Pays takes basically no damage from it, but Teddy was just trying to convince them not to kill his turret. Now Doran looking to make his way in. Casting will cook him on his way forward, though, as the Soul Furnace just gives him a big old shield, and down they will go. Still, the Annie on a flank angle as Gideon wants to press R, and the Dark Binding still going to manage to land here. Kind of crazy that connected onto Gideon.
So difficult for T1 to push through this choke with Casting having Equalizer. They have to refocus on the mid.
Oh, Namgung just going to tank up the ultimate here. Didn't really care about the Unstoppable Onslaughters. There is the Equalizer that you were talking about, as Doran will just enter the battle Rift Herald and look to get some knockups. Will not careen into the wall, as now the soil is on the ground and down goes the Leona. The Bros have lost their support now as Gideon looking to try and fight here. Doran just tanking everything at this point in time as Roma flashes on in, throws down the bear as Pays will just be able to net away. Teddy in a lot of trouble now as well, as Doran still alive and still just walking towards the players of Bro. Roma and Namgung both going down, and T1 holding strong.
No objective to take here for T1 after this play, but pretty disastrous result for Bro, who looked like they wanted to make a proactive play here through this choke point. Look at the angle for a potential Equalizer here with this Solar Flare, but Casting doesn't drop it. And I thought, you know, in this moment, he could have done a serious amount of chip damage and then regained control of this wave and just ended the skirmish. Instead, he kind of holds it here, holds it here, holds it here, and then drops it at the kind of worst opportunity. Like, it cuts Doran off, but Doran has a Rift Herald to go to. He's also Scion, so doesn't really care anyways. And then Doran gets a double knockup, then wraps around, U-turns in to hitting Namgung when the ultimate is coming out for Pays to secure the kill. Casting no longer has Equalizer, can't really peel for himself. A Roamer flashes here, but there is just no follow-up.
Yeah, Roma was looking for a Flash Tibbers play and just never found it throughout that entire time. I think he was possibly a little overly optimistic as to what he was going to be able to get there, because using it at the last second before he died was not exactly the greatest. Now he has a dash cannon. Maybe there's going to be an opportunity for a team fight here, but T1 moving back to a 3,000 gold lead, as Casting will spot the Scion in this brush, trying to be a little tricky. Teddy does have his Mortal Reminder now done, so cutting down the Scion is a little bit less difficult, but does want a few more items.
I'm of the mind that in this game state. Yes, normally in most situations, FaZe is looking to have his third item before he really pops off, but going second item, i.e. with an MF as your enemy AD carry who can't do anything really on her own except sit on a Bloodthirster shield, I think this is actually an incredibly strong spike for him right now, even before that third item for team fights, because of the front line that they have. You know, a lot of the times Caitlyn doesn't actually get to straight up team fight at this stage. But I think given what Bro have here, FaZe is ready to do damage. He's ready to sit up in the front line and actually layer that in.
Casting looking for an angle here. This equalizer could actually really be a problem. He throws it down. It's not exactly the most high value. His owner takes down the Drake, but they've killed FaZe, and the Bros will take down the Jarvan as well. Namgung able to flash himself out of the way. Faker wants to kill him. He'll find the flash bots, but now he's in such an awkward spot. Still, Casting not going to press any further forward, and the Black Shield on Doran will keep him alive. Casting gonna have to settle for a Raptor as the Bros are looking at a Baron.
I want to see where some of that damage came onto FaZe from, because it looked like, you know, he was pushing onto Teddy there, then suddenly just health bar disappear. And we're going to see a TP here from Faker to potentially contest this Baron position. Second TP.
Yeah, this Doran teleport is a dangerous one. He does have a big old shield, and there's a wall from Faker as well. Gets a nice stun, but Gideon gets out of the knockup from Doran, and he will be taken out. Level 16 from Casting on this one as well as the Zombie Scion. He might be able to kill this Rumble, which would be absolutely massive. Gideon just barely gets over the wall. Oh my goodness. Namgung able to soak a lot of damage with that Eclipse, but the Bros a little too low to go for any Barons themselves, and maybe T1 with a full health owner could try their hand at it.
They do end up stopping the Baron essentially just by sacrificing Doran, and that means that Bro just don't have an opportunity for it. So I do think this call, while it looked a little bit silly in hindsight when you see the Scion get caught there, and also Faker's wall wasn't necessarily helping him. I want to watch this fight again, because Teddy ends up just popping FaZe here. FaZe goes forward. Obviously on the other side of the fight, the Equalizer splits them up.
Oh, Teddy just flashes out of the way.
Yeah, just avoids that. Just out damages him there. Sitting on 2 items himself.
I mean, this is the power of 2 items on a Misfortune versus 2 items on a Caitlyn. That being said, I think FaZe should have been stronger, right? He's 2,000 gold ahead.
Just could not actually get it done there. Great flash from Teddy. And then Doran here goes in to try to save the day. This wall, a little bit suspect, trying to help zone Gideon out. Then Gideon is barely able to get over the next one, which is pretty crazy. Stun hits onto Casting, but game is incredibly close, right? I mean, this Rumble is very, very strong right now. The Vi is huge, and even though the Caitlyn has a 2,000 gold lead, we haven't seen the impact outside of lane just yet here for FaZe. You can see that gold up there. He's 2K up. Teddy's second in the game.
Yeah, he does have rapid fire cannon now, so this is starting to become a scary point. Namgung is extraordinarily dead. Does land a solar flare. There's a bullet time as well. So, you know, taking some damage for their trouble, but that is a very deadly owner. And Teddy is now just going to walk in, looks to stand his ground, and the ace in the hole will take him out with the help of the Jarvan. And so the bottom lane are just dead, Wolf.
Yeah, the look on Teddy's face there and the gesture, the scratch of the head from Teddy, it makes me wonder if he also wasn't sure what he was doing there.
Well, Gideon, you could see, was very animated in the player cam, and now he's going to be not animated in the game. Because he's really dead. Oh, picks the juke. And Carrier, he's able to lock down Casting as well. The Bros are just falling apart.
Oh, man, this hurts if you're, you know, a Hanjin fan, because it felt like they may have had a way back in. It was going to be a tough game, but now I think all your hopes are shattered. You know, this was a bit of a set of mistakes here that I mean, it's kind of disastrous. Like, you end up losing your support. Teddy is moving forward there. He dies.
Yeah, and the
I just don't, like, I want to look at this again, because they have, like, Teddy has full information. Like, there's no trickery here. He ults, and then I guess he just thought that they were on Baron, so he's got to go over and challenge, and that they weren't on Baron yet, so he just walked into them and died.
Maybe the call from Gideon was like, oh, try and keep them interested or something like that.
Yeah.
Not that interested. That's too interested.
Yeah. I think Gideon is just, I mean, they all were so desperate to stop T1 from getting Baron that T1 wasn't doing yet. And then T1 was like, I'm killing the pro champions, actually. That's the buff I want, is all of this gold that they pick up.
And then they did the Baron. And so they kind of have everything. They're moving towards a 5,000 gold lead, not quite there just yet, but this Rebel Baron power play will certainly get juiced up over the next 2 minutes. All right, let's see. Bottom lane is going to get pushed in first. And I don't think an equalizer is going to be enough to stop this one from going down. Also, not the hill you really want to die on.
No, I don't think so. I think you let this one go. Trying to set up a flank, though, on the left side.
Yeah. Train left the station, but the Cataclysm not exactly helping out there as the bullet time will get interrupted. Still, it's going to be enough to take down Owner. Doran in a bit of trouble, cease and desist into the backline, and the combo is there. Pace just gets roasted where he stands, and Faker is turned into scrambled eggs once again. Gideon knocks him down, and Carrier is the last one alive alongside Doran.
This series is just too much, Atlas. Okay, so we went from no hope, no optimism to suddenly a flank play. T1 get cut to pieces, just a little bit too scattered. So Owner here is trying to check for said flanks, right? Wants to come over here and challenge this ward, gets caught by Gideon. And then Teddy here gets collapsed on, but Doran can't get to him. Hits the wall here, and then this ultimate from Teddy is able to take the Jarvan out. Doran's now I-17. Faker and Pace can't close the gap here.
And Teddy just killed Carrier.
I don't even... Okay.
He didn't even need to cleanse. It just killed him.
Yeah, he just said, no, you're not allowed to be alive anymore in this particular state. It's the first death of the game for Carrier. And now there's so much standing gold on the map here. All these outers are up, and Bro are closing the gold gap and closing it quickly. Let's see if they can get away from this gank.
Yeah. Gideon going to turn it on to Owner where he can. You can see Casting holding Doran in position. Decent sidesteps there, but Casting's very dead. Pays claiming that kill and might be able to get this one on the Rumble at the same time, as the Equalizer just does not do very much of anything at all. And so the Bros, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1.5 forward.
That's a good
2
way
back,
to put it.
Sort of thing.
They get Carrier, and they get the turret in the bottom side. They get some plates in mid, so I think it's still a trade-up of gold for them, but I think they could have just played this a little bit slower. So Casting has Crystalline here, so he's going to be able to get this turret from the minions. If he is able to somehow outplay this, instead of, like, if he just runs away here, instead of trying to outplay, rather is what I really mean to say, then maybe he's actually fine or pulls more resources, but he kind of tried to collapse there, Gideon. But because 4 show up, the top push is still there for Roamer. They still get the mid push. They actually take out both top and mid turrets out of this, so Bro end up still getting a lot out of his death.
Yeah, so still able to get something back, and you can see, as far as the gold lead is concerned, it's 28.5 minutes. What was I saying before? Like, if the gold lead stays at 2,000, then the Bros are fine. I mean, it's less than that. So I think they're still kind of feeling good, and the Baron, no longer a thing that they need to worry about. You can see for the Bros, that gold is in favor of the top side of the map. Pays is still a huge problem, which is what we've been kind of talking about all game long. Does have a Bloodthirster completed, as well as his Last Whisper, heading towards 5 items, which is where, the Caitlyn becomes a gigantic problem yet again. Gideon looking for Doran.
He is also, because he's where the gold is, a potential liability, right? And Bro can, if they punish him, if they can find him again like they did in that scrap around their blue buff, they can win this game because they have a lot of tools. They have all the CC you could ever want for a Rumble, and if Pays dies first in a fight, all the wind is out of T1's sails, so he has to be very careful. Faker.
He just gets bad, and there is the Flash Frost there as well. Still, they found Casting, who does break his arm guard. Tibbers is there to try and defend, but Tibbers is not going to stay. And that is Casting just dead. Takes a drink on the play cam, as you can see there.
90 seconds until this Baron is up, so not much T1 can do as a result of this punish here, but it's still a Rumble off the map, and they're looking to try to push down this inner now with this Caitlyn pick that is able to do a lot of damage from super far away. Crystalline first.
Yeah, there's the bullet time just to clear out the wave. That will successfully do so. Still, Doran able to walk under turrets and just kind of tank it up forever if he would like to. Space takes a lot of damage. There's a rapid fire cannon done for Teddy as well. He's on 4 items.
20 seconds till Casting comes up. His ult will be up around the same time. T1 need to be careful. Remember, last time they lost a big fight was because they were pushed up too far. There are no flanks set up here for Bro just now, and T1 have a lot of control vision, so I think they will just carefully, surgically remove this turret off the map and then back away.
Yeah. T1's flank vision was actually insane in that moment.
It's almost like they learned.
Triangle of wards.
Yeah, it's almost like they learned from what happened last time. Faker here, he ends up getting bared, but he's got flash, so he can just get over the wall here. The Equalizer is completely wasted, so he doesn't actually have it to peel for himself or turn anything around here. So arm guard also broken as a result of this one. It does pick up Azonius, as you can see it in live, so it doesn't necessarily matter anymore, but a close game still. And I don't feel like it should have been, but Bro just have so many tools, and when all the money's in one basket, right? Like all the eggs in one basket, but in this case, the gold is all in FaZe. Can lose the game just straight up in an instant.
Yeah, FaZe does get that black shield. Tivers just to join in. Bit of a gate crash there, as we can see, as Carrier looks for the angle. Roma flashes out of the way. It's a broken up fight, though, as the flash out from Gideon's fantastic, but he's put in the Cataclysm. Cease and desist comes through as Owner's pulled away from the rest of his team. It's only Doran there to try and defend this Jarvan, and it's Teddy that's able to help put him down, with Gideon there getting the last hit. Casting still in a decent spot as FaZe gets on over. Roma probably didn't want to tank that one, but does at least have the Molten Shield on the retreat. It's Owner in trade for no one, though.
Casting still has his ultimate. I think he wants to try to use it somehow here.
Oh, Faker does have a Blast Cone and does use it to get into the Dragon Pit with full information over to the bros.
TP coming through from Romer. His Tibbers is back up. This could be an amazing equalizer flank if T1 don't realize what's going on.
Well, there is the bullet time coming on through. Namgun goes in. There's the equalizer coming on down. The Leona sacrifices herself, but Casting gets on top of FaZe and wipes out the Caitlyn. It's another one for the double onto Casting here as Faker is put into the egg and Teddy locks down the kill. The bros were thinking about a dragon. They'll get a Baron.
I mean, this is another great play from Casting on this Rumble. He's flanking, making this work. They push through, and I think T1 just were a little bit duped there. Great setup there on the front part of the fight as well. They push FaZe down. Like I said, doesn't matter how much gold ahead you are. If you're dead at the beginning of the fight, Baron goes over here to Bro, and they've equalized the gold. They've taken a gold lead. And look, you have so many opportunities when you're Bro and these types of situations to look for proactive plays.
Tell you what, this is one of the first times Roma's name has been correct.
Yeah.
Like, he is all over the map. He's coming from every single angle, be it on Annie or on Akali.
And the end result here is unfortunately just a bit of a split call. Owner is flashing forward to try to set up these plays, but the DPS is not following.
I mean, it's the old adage of I'm Jarvan, I'm helping, 5 screens away from the rest of his team.
And then FaZe here is just, he has to cleanse.
Oh, the sidesteps from Teddy as well, man.
And then Teddy is just like, all right, well, I kill Anivia in the 1v1, kiting it through, has his Bloodthirster, gets a little bit of help from Casting, and then Faker's dead, no passive. Dragon goes over to Bro, they're on soul point now, and they have this Baron to push this lead even further.
It would be very funny if T1 loses soul twice in a row and gets a 2-0. That could actually be what happens here today. 4.5 minutes on that next dragon if the bros do want to get that soul.
And it is, you know, 2 of the souls there where it's believable, I suppose. But the game state here, crazy the turnaround potentially for Bro in this one.
Yeah.
It's not over till it's over, and T1 still have a Caitlyn that's 2,000 gold ahead. And similarly to how you were talking about the overall gold, that gold hasn't moved. But that still stays relevant the entire game because that's an extra item that you usually have picked up as the Caitlyn in this situation. But it doesn't matter if he keeps dying.
There's also the issue of waves that haven't necessarily been managed quite as well by the bros, but they do send Roma towards the top side. And now, for the very first time this game, the bros have a gold lead. 200 at 34.5 minutes. This is once again so incredibly close.
It's right now, so many things for T1 that they had kind of in the bag are now kind of in question. And FaZe doesn't have flash, doesn't have cleanse for a few more seconds here.
20.
He is huge, and if FaZe dies first again, it feels like you just kiss this game goodbye. We'll see you in game 3 because there's a Leona, right? There's an Annie, there's a Vi.
And Faker has the Fiendish Codices as well. I really appreciate buying 2 of those items because it's a really great plural.
It's a great set as well. They look good together on the mantle.
Yeah.
If you have just one, it looks like you're not really that into the
I mean, they're books and they can be a bookend.
Yeah.
Which is just beautiful. So he does have those Codices. And as you can look at that tiny little red speck at the end of that gold graph.
The thing I want to see most in this next fight is how Doran feels, because he has often been trying to go in with Owner, and FaZe and Faker are like, oh, they got a lot of engaged, we got to stay back. And so they create somewhat of a split. And even though they're very tanky in the front line, the damage is there. The damage is real. This Rumble itself does so much, even without Equalizer, that you can't afford to be splitting your front and back lines. We need to see, I think, Doran, rather than ulting in, maybe just staying near the carries so that FaZe can melt the enemy team here. There isn't much of a front line for Bro. The front line is the CC, and they win the fight through that. But if the CC doesn't land, or if FaZe is able to escape, or Doran absorbs all the pressure, that's it. That's the fight. Like, Teddy can't just front to back. He can to a certain extent. He can, especially if the Caitlyn is dead. But if the Caitlyn is still alive, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, he will have a GA relatively soon. And if they get Ocean Soul, I mean, then maybe you can kind of stand your ground, right? As the Caitlyn, as the Misfortune with this Bloodthirster, right? Like, you will be getting a lot of health back per auto. But as you say, I mean, it's not necessarily someone that's all.
It's not likely.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rough time. Still, Namgung with Eclipse leveled up, like he's level 14 now. Once he's got it maxed, like he will be pretty tanky, I guess. He's died 6 times, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't have very many items, but he's got a locket and a dream. And the dream right now is of dragons.
Yeah, still dreaming though, because Dragon ain't waking up until 80 more seconds from now, so maybe we would take a reset.
Yeah,
we're going to do that.
Flapping on over.
Did get some vision set up around the Dragon area. Not a ton of it, but
Casting
enough.
gets his Rabadons before this Dragon fight potentially breaks out as well.
And let's see if Roamer is close to doing so as well. I think they might give him this Gromp, and that might be enough for him. This is potentially the fight to decide the game. Baron's going to be up right afterwards. And in fact, we might even just ignore Dragon and go straight to Baron. But this next fight feels like it's going to blow the game open completely.
Not to mention, Pei's just completed his GA. So that's full items for Caitlyn. And he was popping at the beginning of the fight. And he's not going to do that anymore because he has a GA.
He waited. Okay, he's got Death Cap. This is it.
All right, double hats. And Namgung already softened here. They know that he's the engaged. Decent knock up there onto Teddy, but he has a big old shield. He is kind of okay.
Jack shows value here for Doran is high.
Yeah, Solar Flare, not exactly getting a lot of value as Namgung goes in one more time. Does cleanse himself as they look to engage onto Doran. Not exactly the priority target, and that is Namgung just dead. The rest of the bros just going to bail from this one as they should just give up this Dragon.
But there's a 20-second desync between Dragon and Baron. And as a result of that, like, they can't just trade for Baron for free. They're going to try to.
It's just going to be both. I think T1 should be able to still compete for this. 13 seconds.
They really
Baron swims over.
Like, they're just not even positioned for it. They're going to try to look for a push here, or so a push to control this vision to set a trap for T1 instead. But Carrier's already on it. Faker's on the wraparound. They read this bluff, rather.
Yeah, Faker is going to spot Gideon, who does Vault Breaker late. That is smart in order to get himself out of there. Make It Rain comes down from Teddy as well, just to see whether anyone was in the area as Pei's clears out the wave.
Another fairly indecisive call here from Bro.
I mean, I think Namgung, he decided.
Yeah.
The rest of the team did not decide.
Well, Namgung's ult was also, like, his ult and his engage, neither were really threatening Pei's at all. And it looks like he didn't get the memo that that's the target they need to kill. And then Doran is like, I've got Jack shows, I'm chilling.
Oh dear, this is very scary for the bros.
Very scary for everyone, I think.
Yeah. Namgung's back. Teddy clears out the wave. And Pei's is off screen. He just does not want to get engaged on. Roamer here towards the top side, just dealing with whatever he can. But there is control vision from both teams on this Baron. And so no one going to get caught unawares. Doran going to be the one sent over here. Level 20 Scion with about 1 billion health.
Yeah, Casting is trying to push this turret down. He has teleports, so can join. T1 are going to back away. Like you said, both teams very aware of what's going on, but Casting is going to be the biggest benefactor of this kind of slow, measured play around Baron here because he gets the entirety of the turret. Gold not important really for him that much at this moment in time. Still has an item left to potentially build with that Dark Seal in his inventory, but it's more about getting that structure down so they can threaten inhibitors later on. And T1 are not pulling the trigger on this Baron, surprisingly. Almost looks like they're spooked, but are going to come over here and eventually clear this ward. But they've given enough time for that free reset for Casting, and it's very unlike T1 to not try to threaten this Baron in the turn with the
I'm very surprised that they haven't just pressed the button as Pei's gets engaged on here by Teddy. Does get hit by the Dark Binding, does immediately cleanse. and Mikhail's. In fact, double cooldowns being thrown at the Misfortune is unfortunate.
It's crazy how much power T1 have because they have essentially 3 GAs with that egg.
Sometimes you just want to hit the button as they're unable to break the black shield. As Carrier goes down to half health as Gideon still alive gets the shield. And it is, in fact, Ona that has to flash away. Namgung's still alive, flashes out, but is still going to get taken down. This Flame Spitter doing some work, but Doran, actually gets taken out. Faker makes his way over, though, and that Glacial Storm is really hurting. The Bros, they lose their support, but they take down the top laner.
Teddy is playing this Misfortune like it's just a straight-up normal hyper carry. It almost looks like he's the one who's outranging the Caitlyn. All the poke, all the damage he's layered in here. Casting has TP, but he does not have Equalizer. Same for Roamer's ultimate. Tibbers is down. They're going to have to fight their way through this if they're going to deny the Baron.
You can see Gideon wanting to get some vision on this as they pull away from the Baron. T1 notice the control ward. They realize they cannot sneak it. It was a nice little attempt, just a vision test here for the Bros.
This is another 40 plus.
Yeah, why is it a Gigabanger? It's just Gigabanger after Gigabanger today.
This is crazy. Okay. My heart can't take
winning?
too much more.
Who is winning, Wolf?
I hope we're winning and Bro wins so that we get 3 games that are 40 minutes
that's
plus.
what winning really looks like.
Hayes does have 1 black shield, but he's pushed away here. And then Teddy layers so much damage, and they turn on to Owner again. The disconnect, the desync here.
Living is absurd.
And then watch Teddy. Not only does he help push Doran out, but then he like walks away. He walks in and chips Pays as well. As Pays looking for cast. Look at this. He's like, yeah, I outrange you, sir.
Well, I mean, if you hit every double up, then yeah, I guess you kind of do. Maybe that's just how it goes. GA held onto here by Gideon. They managed to kill Ona and take his Guardian Angel. As Ace in the Hole comes through and Teddy says, and what? Because he does have his Bloodthirster shield. Now going to build that one back up again immediately.
It just doesn't seem like it should be possible that with this insane front line, T1 could lose team fights.
Gosh. That's another double up. It's going to connect. Make It Rain comes on down as Teddy is just skipping towards them menacingly.
Gideon lurking here, but they will get pushed away.
Yeah.
And we reset again.
And we have 6 Elemental Drakes that have been taken. Soul point for both teams. Drake up again in 35 seconds. Great Wall is going to connect as Teddy gets stunned up, hit by a train, and taken down to the... Oh, never mind! The GA doesn't actually pop just yet. He stands his ground. The bullet time is going to get interrupted, but he takes out Owner in the meantime as another GA comes on through. Roamer is just dead as Teddy's taken down. And T1, I think they may have done it. It's a double kill for Doran somehow. The ace comes in, and T1... they'll win a clean 2-0, ladies and gentlemen, to take the line from KT. It's clean. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, certainly not. Certainly no resistance at any point. No scary moments.
Nope. Just look at the scoreboard.
Finally, the Scion Jarvan gets the Misfortune. Finally, it happens. It took a little bit longer than you expected in the play-by-play, but he does go down. And even though Rumble was on the other side, pumping out damage, finally T1 are able to stick the landing here. When we look at this in the history books in the future, in future home grounds, it'll say 2-0, but the ones who were here today and the pro fans who were here today will remember it differently as T1 were pushed to the brink back to back, but ultimately are the victors here. 2-0, and we'll move up to 4 wins in LCK 2026.
Yeah, impressive stuff from T1 in the end, but the fact that the Bros made them work so hard for it, I have to say, even though it's a 0-2, successful re-debut of Roma. I think he had some great angles in that game. His Akali was fantastic in game number 1, and sometimes the results don't tell the whole story. And T1, they will take a bow, but I think they're probably feeling a little sheepish about this one because that was exceptionally close.
Yeah, I mean, this is the 9th place team. T1 are on the edge right now in the middle. This is the first win that pushes them above 500, right? They're 4-3 now.
Yep.
And it doesn't necessarily feel like Legend Group is a lock for this squad right now. Especially, you know, if you could almost lost to Bro both games, you could have gotten 2-0'd here if just a few things went more right, or maybe just one more Bro fan existed. Maybe one that's here in Lal Park at the moment. Maybe they predicted you might have made it, but it makes you wonder what happens when round 2 hits. Do you beat Nongshim consistently? I mean, Hanwha, you got them last time, but not sure if that's going to happen again. It feels a little scary here for T1. Even though they get the 2-0 win, it's not enough of a convincing win to make you feel like things are still completely righted, the ship.
I would agree. So I think that it makes the LCK exceptionally interesting.
Yeah.
This bottom lane was so difficult for the bros. Namgung also having a bit of a terror of a game in this game number 2. I think his Elise was pretty good, but his Leona just did not quite cut it.
The crazy thing for me was that how close this game was for Bro, because we went so long, 45 minutes into the game, you kind of forget that for the first like 15 minutes, Bro were not doing the gaming. They were, you know, desperately trying to make top side plays through this Rumble, but Namgung was also trying to make plays in the bottom lane and just feeding more money over to this Caitlyn, who got plates on the top side as well. Like, this game felt like it should have just been a done deal, and Bro were so resilient. They punished this Jarvan Sion so many times, but I guess like the 7th time was the charm for T1, where they finally were able to eventually get Teddy there.
I have to say, Teddy played like a man possessed today. Even if they didn't win, his footwork, like the play here, like where he's just skirting around so many skill shots, getting so much damage down, wins it out. Even in the last play where they got aced, I was still pretty impressed with how he managed to do it.
This time they get him.
No.
Stun gets there from Faker.
That wall was so close to pushing him to the other side, and that would have meant that it would have been a wash. I don't think they would have actually found the engage.
Look at Faker just layering that damage in. Finally, Doran is like, I've got him, and somebody is there to finish him off.
Yep.
And Faker made the huge plays there. May ultimately end up getting player of the match because of his also pretty insane Azir engage, as we saw.
Oh my god, FaZe did a lot of damage.
He did do a lot of the damage when we got to the late game, that is for sure. Owner saved game 1 with his Nocturne engage into steal of the Baron. Had a few good moments in game 2. You know, it's probably going to be a split vote because this one was a little crazy.
Yeah, I think there's certainly some merit going over to FaZe as well, who I think was the win condition in both of the games. But when Teddy was so good, I think this is a great vote, though. So the Nico come through from Carrier, saving a lot of the team fights in game number 1. And the Morgana, not only did it work very well, but he had the goal to pick it.
He also,
this is Carrier cooking.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The champion power, like the power of his champion pool was massive, but his play in lane and also so many of his black shields were saving FaZe's life because he had to deal with so much CC. He had a great performance there. His Nico was pretty solid as well. Just Carrier seems like the one consistent piece right now for T1, whereas everyone else is having their ups and downs still here in LCK 2026.
Yeah, I think Carrier is the one playing safety, and everyone else is on the trapeze in the circus when it comes to T1 at this point in time, but I don't think we would have them any other way. It's a 2-0, but the circus was certainly in town, and I think if you were there in the Inspire Arena, you're probably happier this way. I know Wadid was trying to tell us that we didn't want the circus. I think the majority of T1 fans probably embrace the drama, you know? Because the results are still there.
If they just won in an uninteresting way, they would not have gotten the crazy roller coaster of emotions the whole way. And that's what fans live for, is to see their team prevail, not dunk on people. Like, I want to see them overcome the hardships, overcome the challenges. That's why you become a fan of teams like T1, SK Telecom in the old days. And for Bro, sometimes it's like a little bit of a different reason to become a fan of. They're kind of unique in that way.
Yeah, and I do think that if you're a Bro fan, even the Bro players walking off this stage should hold their heads high because it was an incredible game.
Digon is a fan of Bro because they often succumb to the challenge.
The most important part about that shot, though, is not Digon. It's the fact that we got to see the cowboy on the back of Orcs' jacket. Can you come back, Orcs? Can you just get in front of the camera? Look at that. Isn't that majestic?
That is majestic.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
What a lasso.
Where do they come up with these gorgeous jackets that we're wearing this season? It's just next level. Digon, do you have anything cool on the back of your jacket as well? Does it say fake Bro fan?
It does seem like it has a little bit of a stain on the edge there.
Yeah, I think that's G-Sun says it's a stain from sweat, but I don't think he's sick enough to sweat in that weird way.
It looks like one of the... Did you ever play the game Meteos? You know,
Meteos? I know Meteos.
It kind of looks like one of those blocks from Meteos on the back of his shirt there. Meteos would know.
Meteos would know Meteos things.
Yeah.
But I don't. I think it's time to go over to an interview to save us from this conversation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. We are joined by our POM today, Keria on the side of T1, who just took down Hanjin Brion. Powered by the fans' cheers, you've pulled a 2-0. How do you feel? Well, first of all, it wasn't an easy match, but our fans were going so wild. They did so much just supporting us today. Even coming back from a disadvantage, it was actually possible to come back and turn things around thanks to our fans. And in the T1 home ground match, you're now won 3 in a row at the Inspire Arena, which is a 100% win rate at Inspire. So how does that feel? Yeah, it feels like we are a good match at the Inspire Arena. And even last year, we did win twice in a row at Inspire. And back then, I got a POM as well. So I feel like, yeah, it feels great. I feel great here. And in Game 1, with the 2 Elder Dragon spawn, there was so much back and forth that lasted all game. It was a bloody battle that lasted 48 minutes. So what did you focus on it to close it out? I feel like we had made a lot of mistakes in the moments where we were able to play well. So I think the early and mid-game, Brion actually did really show their potential. And I think we just tried to continuously find out our answer to the game. And in Game 1, with only the Nexus to hit, the crowd was sweating bullets and the fans' energy was incredible. So how were the players feeling in that moment? You know, everybody was feeling quite anxious. There was a lot of rush shot calls. Maybe a little bit of nervous voices in the voice comms, and it just felt like we could not. There's a chance that we couldn't break the Nexus, and it just our heart was pounding. But honestly, we're just really relieved that we're able to close it out. We were actually quite nervous in that moment. And after a long time, Morgana actually made a comeback. And pairing Morgana with Caitlyn against Leona, the synergy looked great. So how was it playing her in competitive after a while? Well, Morgana is a pick that I'm pretty confident in usually. And I think I had a lot of fun and we did really well in this game. But Game 2 wasn't easy either. So at which point did you feel confident about the win? In Game 2, when we got the solo kill first in bot lane, that's when we thought that we would be able to close it out. But as we played it out, there were some incidents throughout the map, you know. It was such a scary game to play out. And there is another news to celebrate. Faker has achieved 6,000 LCK assists, a first in LCK history. It must be quite meaningful here. So would you like to say a word of congrats? Faker, he is number 1 when it comes to reaching milestones, and although he has reached 6,000 LCK assists, I want to be the one to hit 7,000 assists. I want to be the first one to hit 7,000 assists. And from round 2, the Emperor, Coach Lee Si-hoon will be joining the team, and the fans are absolutely thrilled about this news. So what kind of synergy are you looking forward to? You know, even back when he was a player and while he was coaching, he has achieved a lot, and he already looks like an intelligent person. I think he is actually intelligent, as intelligent as he looks. So I think we'll just have a lot of good conversation. I'm definitely looking forward to working with him. And you mentioned that the T1 home ground match with the fans is a happy memory. So any word for the fans who came all the way to Yeongjeongdo? You know, Inspire Arena is quite far. And I'm just really grateful that all the fans made their way out to support us. And I wanted to repay it. And I want to make sure that even tomorrow we'll be able to win and show a great performance. And I think we'll be able to continue having fan meetings with you guys. I'm really looking forward to that. And that is all from Keria, and back to the space. Thank you.